Chapter 16. As long as one was a citizen of Dark Moon City, they would have more or less heard of the legend of the Blazing Blood Lotus. Most people knew that the Blazing Blood Lotus was able to become the city lord of Dark Moon City because her hands were stained with blood. Rumor had it that several terrifying and cruel massacres in Dark Moon City were all her handiwork. Among the four great families of Dark Moon City, the Yuan family was ranked first because of this woman who looked beautiful but was actually vicious and merciless. The core members of the Zhao family, Huang family, and Yu family all knew how powerful she was, and no one dared to underestimate her. At this moment, this Blazing Blood Lotus, who had committed countless cruel and evil deeds, actually made a request to their crazy and foolish young master in an almost pleading tone. Everyone felt that everything that happened in the palace today was beyond their expectations. "Come closer and I'll tell you the method." Yu Yuan suddenly laughed and waved at Yuan Lianyao. "The method can't be passed on to two ears." When he was taken away from the stone path by the autumn boat, he didn't lose consciousness. He knew that the secret room of ice should be hidden under the city lord's mansion. Today, he saw more bright red lotuses, so he quickly determined that the person who took him and brought him into the secret room of ice wasn't the Red Devil School elder who was poisoned by fire. It was the city lord of Dark Moon City in front of him. Since that was the case, the Red Devil School elder who was poisoned by fire must have a deep relationship with her. Either she was also from the Crimson Fiend sect, or she was secretly helping that old man from the Crimson Fiend sect. No matter which it was, Yu Yuan believed that at this stage, the city lord would definitely stand on his side and wouldn't choose to fall out with him at a critical moment. Okay. Yuan Lianyao pursed her lips and smiled. She ignored the hateful gazes of the father and daughter of the Lin family, and ignored the shocked gazes of the people in the palace. Her body swayed as she walked towards Yu Yuan. Just as Yu Yuan said, she took the initiative to put her delicate ear near Yu Yuan's mouth. "This concubine is listening." The members of the Yu family were all at a loss. "You can," the old man clutched his head, feeling a headache coming on. He still didn't know how the Lin family was going to deal with the situation. Now, a notoriously troublesome city lord had barged in. How could this brat cause so much trouble after waking up? Actually, it's quite simple. It's like this, Yu Yuan smiled. Looking at Yuan Lianyao's small ears, which were as beautiful as jade, he lowered his voice and said, "As long as you do this, then, the blood poison of the turtle blood pill will naturally be neutralized. This time, I'll just treat it as teaching them a small lesson. I'm also giving face to Sister City Lord. Otherwise, I would have let them die here." When he talked about the solution, his voice was so soft that it was almost inaudible. When he finished talking about how to deal with the blood poison and how to teach the father and daughter of the Lin family a lesson, his voice suddenly became louder. She was afraid that the father and daughter of the Lin family couldn't hear her. On the other side, Lin Hanyu, whose blood poison had penetrated deep into his organs, was aching all over. At this moment, even if he was filled with anger, he couldn't do anything. As for Lin Zhuyun, she was even more upset. She already believed that Yin Ju was killed by Yu Yuan. And today in the palace, Yu Yuan's crazy behavior completely shocked her, making her feel as if she was in a nightmare. "If it's a nightmare, I hope I can wake up soon," she murmured in her heart. Looking at Yu Yuan, who was teasing the delicate and beautiful Yuan Lianyao with a calm expression, she only felt uncomfortable all over. "It must be the blood poison of the turtle blood pill that has also seeped into my flesh," she thought hatefully. "Your method is a bit vicious, isn't it? Are you serious?" Suddenly, Yuan Lianyao exclaimed with a strange look in her eyes. She seemed to be holding back her laughter, and was unwilling to believe it. "Do it according to the law, and you have to be fast. Otherwise, I'm afraid that I may not have a father-in-law in the future," Yu Yuan said. Yuan Lianyao thought for a moment and nodded. "Okay. I, sister, will believe you for the time being. I hope you won't joke about this matter. Otherwise, Dark Moon City will really flow with blood. Yu Yuan urged, go. The three realms competition that will determine the profits of the four great families for the next 3 years is about to begin. This time, I suddenly have some more expectations for your Yu family. Yuan Lianyao's face was serious. Finally, she looked at Yu Yuan. Especially you. You make me look forward to it even more. Oh, right, if you have any problems in the next few days, you can come find me at any time. After saying this, she suddenly attacked again. Red lotus flowers suddenly wrapped around Lin Hanyu, causing him to float in the air. You also come with me. She nodded at Lin Zhuyun and took the lead to walk out. Lin Hanyu was carried by the colorful lotus flowers and floated behind her. Lin Zhuyun put away the frost spider web. Before she left, she looked at Yu Yuan with a bone-chilling gaze. The humiliation that my father and daughter suffered today will be returned in the future. I'll wait. Yu Yuan narrowed his eyes slightly and said, but I hope that you can remember. If Sister City Lord hadn't come today, you should know what would have happened to you and your father. I'll remember. Lin Zhuyun nodded and left. As soon as they left, the Yu family clansmen in the hall burst into an uproar again. Shut up. Yukin shouted loudly. A few of our old friends were killed by second brother Lin. Take care of their bodies first. Got it. Yu Wei immediately arranged for people to collect the bodies of the old guest elders in the hall so that they could be properly buried. The Lin family, they've been so aggressive again and again. I don't think there's any need to continue this engagement. Yu Hu stepped forward and said sorrowfully, Uncle, we've lost people. The Lin family and the Yu family have already shed all pretense of cordiality. I know. Yukan's body trembled slightly in his wheelchair. I want revenge too, but don't worry. Even if Lin Hanyu doesn't die this time, he'll lose a layer of skin. Yu Yuan took a deep breath and said to Yukan, Grandfather, let's not cancel the engagement first. We need to discuss them. Trust me, the Lin family will pay the price for causing a scene in the hall. Everyone in the hall fell silent. Everyone's gazes were fixed on him, as if they were looking at a stranger. After all, his performance today was simply too shocking. Don't look at me like that. I'm Yu Yuan. He braced himself and explained, the reason why I dared to do what I did was because I was confident. It's just that I don't want to talk about it. I heard from Lin Hanyu that the Frigidine sect still has a Grand Elder holding the fort, Yu Wei said. That Grand Elder isn't a threat. Yu Yuan didn't go into detail. Grandfather, I'll find a way to heal your broken legs. I can guarantee you that you'll be able to recover your lost cultivation base. As soon as he said that, Yukan was thrilled. His breathing quickened. Really? Yeah. Yu Yuan nodded slightly. Then, he looked at Yu Wei, Yu Hu, and the others. After a moment of serious thought, he said, it's about the future of the Yu family. We have to do something about the competition between the four great clans. If I have a suitable spiritual tool, I won't fear anyone at the Golden Hall stage. Yu Hu said proudly. A spiritual tool? Yu Yuan rubbed his chin thoughtfully and said, we will. We'll have everything in the future. Don't worry, everyone. The Yu clan won't fall in Dark Moon City just because of the Lin clan or the Huang clan. Before anyone could ask him why, he walked out of the room. Clanmaster, what's going on with little Yuan? Uncle, is this nephew of ours really still him? Why do I feel so unfamiliar with him? Clanmaster, did you really sign him up for the competition between the three realms? Will he be able to handle the Meridian opening stage? Countless questions about Yu Yuan poured into the old man's mind after he left. The old man, Yukan, wasn't confident either. However, he still pretended to be profound and said, Don't worry. My grandson will be extraordinary after he wakes up. Let's wait and see. I think he'll be able to bring you and the Yu family endless surprises. Surprises? Don't scare him. He almost scared me to death today. How dare he? How could he kill the father and daughter of the Lin clan so brazenly? Isn't he afraid of the Lin clan and the frigid insect's bloody revenge? You can seemed not to hear them. You only have a few days. Can you really turn the situation around in the competition between the three realms? Looking out of the room, the old man also felt that the situation was very difficult. The Lin clan and the frigid insect won't give up so easily. How can we solve these problems? Can the Yu family rise because of you? Chapter 17. There were 4 great families in Dark Moon City. They were the Yuan family, the Zhao family, the Huang family, and the Yu family. It wasn't just the income within the city. The mines and herb forests outside the city were also jointly owned by the 4 great families. Even the position of City Lord of Dark Moon City was contested by the 4 great families in turn. The Zhao family and the Huang family had replaced the Yuan family in controlling the City Lord of Dark Moon City 100 years ago. Among the 4 great families, the Huang family controlled many mines and stone fields. Most of the rare metals and special ores they mined belonged to the Huang family. The Yu clan, on the other hand, was in charge of the vast expanse of herb gardens around Dark Moon City, where they grew all of the spirit herbs and plants. As for the Zhao family and the Yuan family, their income mainly came from within the city. Most of the rent from the main commercial streets of Dark Moon City went to the City Lord Yuan family. As for the Zhao family, they had many shops in Dark Moon City. Many of the taverns, jewelry stores, and shops that traded materials were controlled by the Zhao family. The Huang family and the Yu family almost all obtained spirit stones and materials outside the city. They earned their hard-earned money. The Yuan family and the Zhao family used more dignified and comfortable methods to obtain more benefit. Not only that, but the Yuan family and the Zhao family also had a certain share of the annual income from the mines and herbs outside the city. The so-called 3 realms competition of the 4 great families was based on the family's strength and the ratio of the mines, stone fields, and herb farms outside the city was redistributed. As for the areas inside the city that were firmly controlled by the Yuan family and the Zhao family, it was extremely difficult for the Huang family and the Yu family to interfere. In the eastern part of the city, deep in a courtyard belonging to the Yuan family, Lin Hanyu and his daughter were soaking in 2 large wooden barrels. The barrels were filled with a dark green liquid that smelled disgusting. Some poisonous insects could even be faintly seen floating out of them. The small bodies of the poisonous insects that floated out quickly hardened, and they all died from poison. Lin Hanyu, who had been poisoned by the turtle blood pill and was on the verge of death, lowered his head in humiliation and looked at his chest. He could feel that there were many poisonous insects gathered in his middle dantian, sucking the blood poison that originated from the turtle blood pill. As the poison left his body, his mind gradually became clear. However, the anger in his heart still hadn't faded. On the other side, Lin Zhuyun, who was resisting the overwhelming stench and the poisonous insects, closed her eyes tightly. She was filled with grief and anger. The father and daughter duo had never imagined that they would suffer such a heavy blow at the hands of the Yu family. Not only did they not get what they wanted, but they also almost lost their lives. Yu Yuan. The 2 of them roared in their hearts. If I hadn't rescued you from Yu Yuan and figured out how to cure you, you and your daughter would already be dead. Yuan Lianyao suddenly appeared like a ghost. The moonlight was like water. Under the bright moonlight she was dressed in a tight, silver-white dress. Her graceful figure was like a mermaid with white scales. Ha! Although this detoxification method is somewhat unconventional, it is still effective. Yuan Lianyao's gaze wandered between Lin Hanyu and his daughter, causing the 2 of them to feel even more uncomfortable and aggrieved. This is Dark Moon City. I hope that your Lin family will not act recklessly in the future. Master Lu of the Frigid Insect is right outside the city. If she learns that my daughter has suffered such a disaster, she definitely won't let it go. Lin Hanyu knew that the woman in front of him had a profound background. The Lin family alone might not be able to suppress her, so he used the frigid insect as an example. Oh right, there's something I forgot to tell you. The corner of Yuan Lianyao's mouth twitched as she said with a strange smile, the guards outside the city found traces of a fierce battle in a cave. That Master Lu of the frigid insect should have already been killed, and his body couldn't be found. What? The father and daughter shouted in unison. To tell you the truth, I have a feeling that Yu Yuan is being helped by an expert. Yuan Lianyao's expression was solemn. After the poison is removed, you two better leave Dark Moon City as soon as possible. Let the Lin family and the frigid insect figure it out first before making any plans. Don't die in Dark Moon City without knowing anything. I'll have to answer to the Lin family and the frigid insect. After half warning and half threat, the city lord left under the shocked and confused gazes of the father and daughter. Inside the city, in the backyard of the spirit treasure room, Zhao Dongxing, who had a robust body and even seemed a bit bloated, wore 7 rings inlaid with gold, silver, and precious jade on his 10 fat fingers, which looked extremely luxurious. On the jade table in front of him, a pair of scissors, a jade medallion, and an iron ruler were placed. The 3 objects were all rare treasures. All of them emitted a faint light, and there was an unusual fluctuation of spiritual energy. Black Dragon Scissors, a genuine spiritual tool. As for its grade, it's not very high. It's only at the 3rd grade. Zhao Dongxing slowly touched the jet black scissors. A wisp of black light seemed to be suddenly awakened within the scissors, as if the legendary Black Dragon had been awakened. A 3rd grade spiritual tool isn't the best in Dark Moon City, but there are people who can afford it. But I don't think you're one of them. With a smile on his face, he sized up the guest in front of him with a scrutinizing gaze. To be honest, the reason why I wanted to meet you is because I've heard a lot about you recently. As he spoke, his round body lazily leaned back on the spacious reclining chair. He didn't continue to introduce the jade tablet and iron ruler. If I'm not wrong, what you really want is the Black Dragon Scissors, right? That's right. With his back straight, Yu Yuan faced the 2nd-generation leader of the Zhao clan in a neither arrogant nor humble manner. I've asked around and learned that the Black Dragon Scissors in your Zhao clan's spirit treasure room are very suitable for my aunt. Therefore, I came here today to ask for the Black Dragon Scissors. As for the other 2 items, I'm not interested in them for the time being. The nominal shopkeeper of the spirit treasure room, Qinan, couldn't help but sneer. Standing next to Zhao Dongxing, he was as thin and tall as a hemp pole, which made him look like a weirdo. Young master of the Yu clan, I must remind you that your Aunt Yu, who came as soon as the Black Dragon Scissors arrived at the spirit treasure room. I still remember how reluctant she was at that time. But do you know why she couldn't take the Black Dragon Scissors away? Without waiting for Yu Yuan to answer, Qinan answered, she couldn't afford it. Zhao Dongxing's lounge chair began to sway up and down in an exaggerated manner. My spirit treasure room isn't a place of charity. Without enough spirit stones, there's no point in continuing the discussion. With these words, he casually raised his hand, indicating for Qinan to see the guest out. He had already met this person, and his curiosity had been satisfied. In his eyes, the awakened young master of the Yu clan was indeed somewhat strange and extraordinary. However, the Zhao clan's spirit treasure room was a place to do business and make money. No matter how glib a person was, as long as they came to the spirit treasure room empty-handed, he wouldn't be interested in serving them. Yu Yuan didn't even have a cloth or leather pouch for spirit stones. Obviously, he came empty-handed. Coming to the spirit treasure room empty-handed was a sign of disrespect to him and the Zhao clan. I heard that your daughter Zhao Yafa's cultivation has stagnated at the spirit nurturing stage. Yu Yuan took a step forward and looked directly into Zhao Dongxing's small eyes. Miss Zhao is a year younger than me. Logically speaking, the late stage of the spirit-nurturing stage isn't bad. But you and I both know that she's made rapid progress in the meridian opening and spirit-nurturing stages. She clearly has the opportunity to enter the Golden Hall stage early on like my fiancé. Creak. The rocking lounge chair gradually came to a stop. The nominal shopkeeper of the spirit treasure room, Qinen, had an unfriendly expression as he said coldly, "What does my miscultivation have to do with you?" Zhao Dongxing's beady eyes also shone with a frosty light as a mountainous spiritual power enveloped Yu Yuan in the blink of an eye. In an instant, Yu Yuan's straight back was forced to bend. Zhao Dongxing slowly walked down from the lounge chair. After straightening his body, he was actually taller than Yu Yuan by a head. He was like a towering mountain of flesh, giving people a strong sense of oppression. "Young Master Yu, you don't have to worry about my daughter's cultivation." He curled the corner of his mouth in disdain. A tremendous force came crashing down on him. Yu Yuan let out a muffled groan. His knees couldn't bear the force and abruptly bent. Just as he was about to kneel down, he suddenly shouted in a low voice, "Uncle Zhao, have you heard of the dragon concealing lake's so-called raising young dragons?" The terrifying pressure was instantly released. Yu Yuan took a breath and stood straight again. His eyes were like torches as he looked at the second-generation helmsman of the Zhao family. "I came with sincerity. The reason why I dared to come empty-handed is because I know what Uncle Zhao really needs." "Dragon concealing lake, raising young dragons, what are you talking about?" Qin asked curiously. "Go to the front yard. Don't let anyone in, including you." Zhao Dongxing's face was dark. His hands, which wore 7 rings, sometimes clenched and sometimes loosened. "Come with me." He went straight to the wing room in the backyard. He didn't even look at the black dragon scissors on the jade table, and the obviously valuable jade plate and iron ruler. Yu Yuan followed him in. "How do you know about the dragon concealing lake?" In the wing room in the backyard, Zhao Dongxing clearly seemed somewhat anxious and uneasy. The landscape paintings hanging on the wooden walls released a dazzling green light as he spoke. With just a glance, Yu Yuan knew that there was a secret formation in this wing room that could isolate sound and spiritual sense. Those who weren't at the in-spirit stage couldn't eavesdrop on the conversation in the wing room with their spiritual sense. "I want to know if the dragon concealing lake has the permission of the Zhao family to raise the young dragon's soul in your daughter's body?" Yu Yuan didn't answer, but asked instead, "This question is very important." Zhao Dongxing's expression changed. "What do you know?" "Uncle Zhao, please answer my question first." Yu Yuan completely calmed down. He had already seen that the second-generation leader of the Zhao family was in a mess because of his daughter's trouble. Zhao Dongxing hesitated for a long time and nodded gently. So it's been approved." Yu Yuan smiled. "So, the real backer of the Zhao family is the dragon concealing lake." "You can say that." Zhao Dongxing didn't hide it. "Since you know about the dragon concealing lake, the so-called raising a young dragon, and the predicament my daughter Yafu is facing, you still dare to stand in front of me and talk about it?" Zhao Dongxing crossed his arms in front of his chest, and the dangerous aura around his body soared. "Then, if you don't give me a satisfactory explanation, I'm afraid I can't let you leave alive. That dragon's true body is not here, but a wisp of its soul is nourished in your daughter's body. It should already be dead." Yu Yuan smiled with a relaxed expression. "You know, your daughter also knows, but the dragon concealing lake may not know. If the dragon concealing lake knows that the young dragon died outside, and only a wisp of its soul is left. If the dragon concealing lake knows, they will sacrifice your daughter with that wisp of soul and the hidden dragon blood to help the young dragon be reborn, right?" Zhao Dongxing's expression was as usual, and he signaled him to continue with his eyes. "You, or your Zhao family, don't want to sacrifice Zhao Yafu, and you want to secretly carry out the plan of swallowing the dragon behind the dragon concealing lake's back. Is that so? Yu Yuan shouted. So what if it is? Zhao Dongxing grinned and grinned. No matter how glorious Yu Yuan was during this period of time, he was ready to kill Yu Yuan here and now. If the dragon concealing lake found out about the Zhao family's plan of swallowing the dragon, they would suffer a disaster. He would never allow any accidents to happen. Isn't it just swallowing the dragon? Yu Yuan chuckled. Uncle Zhao, believe me, I can help you. Chapter 18. In the hall in the front yard of the Spirit Treasure House, shopkeeper Qinan, who was as thin as a bamboo pole, stared blankly at Yu Yuan as he leisurely returned from the backyard with the black dragon scissors. I'll visit you another day. Yu Yuan waved his hand, indicating that Qinan didn't need to see him off. Then, he shouted towards the backyard, Many thanks, Uncle Zhao. When the Three Realms competition of the four great families is over, I'll definitely visit you again. Oh, I forgot to mention that the Meridian Opening Realm competition of the Three Realms is also a participant. Uncle Zhao, please say a word and ask the brothers and sisters of the Zhao family to be merciful. Shopkeeper, I'm sorry for disturbing you. There's no need to see me off. Under Qian's gaze, Yu Yuan stepped out of the Spirit Treasure House and left. He really did come empty-handed, but returned with the black dragon scissors. Boss? After a long while, Qian came back to his senses. When he noticed that Zhao Dongxing had also walked out from the backyard, he hesitated for a moment before asking, Why did you let him take away the third-grade spirit-grade black dragon scissors? Don't ask about things you shouldn't know. Zhao Dongxing's tone was cold and hard. From now on, gather all information about this Yu Yuan for me. I want to know who he has met and what he has done all these years. The clearer and more detailed, the better. Yes, sir. Qian agreed in silence. Zhao Dongxing's bloated body blocked the entrance of the hall. He narrowed his eyes and coldly looked in the direction Yu Yuan left. He snorted in his heart, When the Three Realms competition ends, if what you said is proven to be false, not only you, but the entire Yu family will suffer with you. Midnight, Yu family, north of the city. Black dragon scissors, third grade spirit grade. Holding the shiny black scissors, Yu Yuan looked at the pearl inlaid at the intersection of the blades and thought, although it's an imitation pearl, it contains the dragon breath of the black dragon. It should be the work of the dragon concealing lake. The Qianxian continent and the tranquil continent were separated by a vast and boundless ocean. There were numerous islands and dangerous secret lands scattered around. The 9 underworlds' cold abyss was among them. On the other hand, the mysterious dragon concealment lake was located in the depths of the vast sea, and it was unknown to others. As the sect master of the medicine god sect in his previous life, Yu Yuan naturally knew about the existence of the hidden dragon lake. He also knew that the cultivators of the hidden dragon lake humbly called themselves dragon attendants and dragon servants. The incantations, secret magics, and spiritual tools of the cultivators there were all closely related to dragons. In the hidden dragon lake, the ones who truly gave orders and made decisions were not humans, but dragons. All kinds of dragons. The human cultivators of the hidden dragon lake only served the dragon, listened to the dragon, and were loyal to the dragon. The Zhao clan was one of the many small clans that were related to the hidden dragon lake and were hidden in the Qianxian continent. Dragons had a long lifespan, and their growth was also relatively slow. The awakening of a dragon's intelligence was much slower than that of a human's. The so-called raising a dragon whelp was to strip off a wisp of the dragon whelp's soul and integrate it into the body of a young human child. With the intelligence of a human child, it would help the dragon whelp quickly awaken its intelligence and recognize the world and the world faster. The so-called human relationships and worldly wisdom would help the dragon whelp achieve spiritual communication very early. As for the dragon whelp's soul, it could also be used to feed the dragon whelp, allowing the dragon whelp to become a true cultivator of the hidden dragon lake in the future. Of course, if the dragon whelp encountered an accident, the dragon whelp's soul that was integrated into the dragon whelp's body would be stimulated by the secret technique of the hidden dragon lake. It could also swallow the 3 souls of the dragon whelp and strengthen it. From there, it could condense the dragon whelp's soul and combine it with the dragon blood. It could also reconstruct the dead dragon whelp's flesh and bones, allowing it to come back to life. Zhao Yafu was the dragon whelp who was favored by the hidden dragon lake and integrated with the dragon whelp's soul. If that dragon whelp could smoothly grow and transform, advancing step by step, Zhao Yafu would benefit from it and be taken to the hidden dragon lake to become a cultivator of the hidden dragon lake. She would become the so-called dragon attendant and dragon servant. The mysterious hidden dragon lake's strength was much stronger than the 7 major sects of the Tianyuan continent. As for Zhao Yafu, she originally had a bright future and was expected to go to the hidden dragon lake to cultivate high-level spirit art. It was a pity that the dragon whelp that was closely related to her life had died outside the hidden dragon lake for some unknown reason. When the dragon whelp died, Zhao Yafu should have known that according to the agreement between the hidden dragon lake and the Zhao family, she should have been secretly sent to the hidden dragon lake by the Zhao family and sacrificed herself in exchange for the dragon whelp's rebirth. However, the Zhao family did not abide by the agreement. Not only did the Zhao family hide it, but they also secretly planned to swallow the dragon. They wanted Zhao Yafu to swallow the dragon whelp's soul to strengthen herself. Whether this matter succeeded or not, the Zhao family had already betrayed the hidden dragon lake. Once the news was leaked, the cultivators of the hidden dragon lake would definitely quietly arrive and kill all the members of the Zhao family in one night. Zhao Yafu would also be captured alive by the cultivators of the hidden dragon lake and brought to the hidden dragon whelp in a similar way to a sacrifice to revive the dragon whelp that accidentally died outside. The Zhao family must have found a new backer for daring to betray the hidden dragon lake. Yu Yuan's mind was clear. Otherwise, the Zhao family would have obediently sent Zhao Yafu to the hidden dragon lake a long time ago. As he thought this, he used the pad of his finger to rub the imitation pearl that was inlaid at the intersection of the blade. 9 lights heaven wheel. Countless strands of thin spirit energy quietly floated towards him as he circulated his spirit art. They passed through his mouth, nose, and pores all over his body and gathered towards his lower dantian. A misty brilliance suddenly flashed out from the imitation pearl. In an instant, Yu Yuan acutely smelled that threads of strange energy flew out from the imitation pearl and flowed into his body from the pad of his finger that was pressed against the pearl. The strange energy directly flowed towards the yellow hall acupoint in his lower dantian. 9 rice-sized spirit energy balls at the yellow hall acupoint suddenly expanded and became as bright as the sun, their radiance dazzling to the eyes. The medicinal effect of the channel opening pill was suddenly completely activated. The 9 light balls were like 9 blazing suns as they flew around the yellow hall acupoint and formed a dazzling divine rainbow that seemed to contain a dragon inside. It's just an imitation pearl, but it contains an extremely small portion of the dragon's breath. Under the effects of the 9 lights heaven wheel and the channel opening pill, it can still have such a miraculous effect. Yu Yuan was greatly surprised. In the next instant, he focused his attention and borrowed the small portion of dragon's breath inside the imitation pearl to continue charging towards the channel opening realm. Very soon, he was drenched in sweat after sucking in a breath of cold air. Black dragon's breath and the medicinal effect of the channel opening pill were circulating and twisting with the 9 lights heaven wheel. The dazzling rainbow of light that was formed caused his meridians to suddenly feel piercing pain, as if they were about to explode. However, the efficiency of the channel opening realm had greatly increased yet again. Auntie, your nephew's realm is truly too low. A small amount of dragon's breath, combined with the channel opening pill and the 9 lights heaven wheel, is enough to push me to the next level. Yu Yuan grimaced as he continued to charge through his meridians. I will only borrow a small amount of dragon's breath. Before the competition between the 3 realms, these black dragon scissors will still be in your hands. Outside Dark Moon City, Golden Lotus Mountain. The Golden Lotus Mountain, that was only a few hundred meters tall, was covered in densely packed caves like a beehive. From time to time, miners carrying bamboo baskets could be seen walking out of the caves tiredly and handing over the golden lotus rock they had mined to the Huang family clansmen for registration. Golden lotus rock was only a common grade 2 spirit material. After being refined, the refined golden lotus iron could only be used to forge the lowest grade spirit artifacts. However, no matter how common or low grade a spirit material was, it was still a source of income when there was enough of it. The golden lotus rock mined from the Golden Lotus Mountain outside the city every year was a great source of income for the Huang family. Therefore, this Golden Lotus Mountain was also highly valued by the Huang family. Halfway up the mountain, in the most spacious cave, there were expensive tables and chairs arranged. The stone walls were inlaid with illuminating pearls, making it as bright as day. Old brother Lin, how come you have the time to come to the Golden Lotus Mountain that our Huang family guards? Huang Qin was tall and broad. His bare arms were muscular and there were streams of light swimming under his skin like pythons. Both of them were at the shattering profound realm, and he had obviously put in a lot of effort in tempering his body. Ever since your daughter came to our Dark Moon City and entered the Yu family, she has caused no small amount of trouble for us. Speaking up to here, he paused for a moment before continuing, your Lin family is too powerful for us to offend, so we have done our best to endure. Now that you have suddenly come to our door, could it be that you want our Huang family to deliberately lose to the Yu family in the competition between the 3 realms? Lin Hanyu, who had come alone, only looked a little pale. However, only he knew that although the poison of the turtle blood pill had been removed, the small world inside his middle dantian was riddled with holes. It would take a long time for it to recover. His present combat strength was not even half of his peak. Clang! He casually threw a cloth bag on the stone table in front of Huang Chen, giving Huang Chen a fright. Old brother Lin, what is the meaning of this? Huang Chen lowered his head and looked at the spirit stones that had emerged from the cloth bag. His expression became serious. These spirit stones are equivalent to half a year's harvest of Golden Lotus Mountain. Your Huang family didn't hear any news? Just 2 days ago? Lin Hanyu's gaze was strange. Huang Chen shook his head. No. Yuan Lianyao is quite tactful. She probably told the Yu family to shut up and deliberately concealed the news. Lin Hanyu muttered in his heart. Then, he said in a deep voice, I want you Yuan to die in the competition between the 3 realms of your 4 great families. Huang Chen was stunned for a few seconds before coming to his senses. He glanced at the spirit stones on the stone table again and said, You know that most of the time, the competition between the 3 realms of our Dark Moon City only determines victory and defeat. It doesn't determine life and death. Of course I know. However, if both sides of the competition agree, it is also allowed. Lin Hanyu sneered. I don't dare to blatantly violate my mother's last wish. Seeing that the marriage contract is about to come, I hope that Yu Yuan dies. As long as he dies, that absurd marriage contract will naturally be void. Huang Chen was hesitant. If this matter succeeds, the Huang family will be our Lin family's friends. The Cold Yin sect will also owe the Huang family a great favor. Lin Hanyu enticed. A favor from the Cold Yin sect. Huang Chen's eyes lit up. He finally made a decision. All right. I promise you, I will communicate with my son and plan to have that Yu Yuan die in the competition between the 3 realms. All right. Lin Hanyu exclaimed. Lu Jin was dead. Inju was dead. According to City Lord Yuan Lianyao, there might be an expert supporting Yu Yuan. Yuan Lianyao also warned him and told him and the Lin family not to act recklessly in Dark Moon City. Under these circumstances, he chose to withdraw from Dark Moon City with his daughter Lin Zhuyun first to make Yuan Lianyao feel relieved. Then, he secretly went to Huangchun, hoping to borrow the power of the Huang family to kill Yu Yuan on the spot in the competition of the 3 cultivation realms that would be held soon. That way, the Huang family would be able to kill Yu Yuan on the spot and eliminate all future troubles. P.S. If you think it's not bad, remember to collect it. Give me a recommendation ticket or something. Many thanks. Chapter 19. Meridian Opening, 10th Heaven. Early in the morning, Yu Yuan suddenly opened his eyes and let out a carefree howl. With the help of the imitation pearl and the meridian opening pill, he successfully opened his 10th meridian in a short amount of time and stepped into the 10th heaven of the meridian opening realm. There were still 3 days until the competition between the 3 realms, so his chances of winning were naturally higher now that he had made another breakthrough. Congratulations! Yuan Lianyao's lazy voice suddenly sounded like a ghost at this moment. Yu Yuan's expression changed slightly as he abruptly turned his head to look at the clearly closed window. Then, he stared at the beautiful city lord in a bright red dress and said with a bitter smile, "How long have you been here?" "It's been a while." Yuan Lianyao didn't have the slightest awareness of being a guest. With a twist of her snake-like waist, her figure flashed in front of Yu Yuan. "The black dragon scissors are the treasure of the spirit treasure house. How did you get it? I'm very curious. Where's the Lin family's daughter?" Yu Yuan asked. "According to the method you gave me, the father and daughter were personally sent out of Dark Moon City as soon as the poison was removed." Yuan Lianyao took a few steps back and sat on the wooden chair with her 2 straight legs crossed like the black dragon scissors. With one hand on the table and one hand under her chin, she looked at Yu Yuan with a smile. Yu Yuan felt uncomfortable under her gaze. "The spirit art you cultivate is very strange. If I'm not wrong, it should be a high-grade spirit art, right?" Her gaze suddenly fell on Yu Yuan's lower dantian. If the Yu family had a complete high-grade spirit art without any side effects, they wouldn't be in such dire straits. Spirit arts were divided into low-grade, middle-grade, and high-grade. They were then further divided into 9 grades. The empires and aristocratic families of Qianxian continent mostly cultivated low and middle-grade spirit art. High-grade spirit arts, even if they were only of the 1st grade, were extremely rare. High-grade spirit arts meant that one's cultivation speed would be fast, and one would be able to avoid a lot of trouble when breaking through to the next realm. There was even hope for one to enter the Sun Spirit, Freedom, and Primordial Spirit realms. If a cultivator only cultivated low-grade spirit arts from beginning to end and didn't change them midway, it would be almost impossible for them to reach the top of the last 3 realms. As for intermediate spiritual arts, there was only a small chance that he could reach the last 3 realms, Yang Spirit and Freedom. The Primordial Spirit realm wasn't something one could hope for with a mid-grade spiritual art. Most cultivators of the Qianxian continent could only come into contact with low-level spirit arts when they first started cultivating. Then, after he slowly broke through his realm, if he was lucky, he would be able to obtain a suitable middle-rank spirit art and continue to cultivate. If he had the hope of reaching the Tranquil Continent and the Tianyuan Continent in the future, he would be able to obtain the favor of a large sect with a deep foundation and be accepted as a guest elder or worship. Only then would he have the opportunity to come into contact with high-grade spirit art. Even Yuan Lianyao herself was only cultivating a 7th-grade middle-tier spiritual incantation. This was something she had obtained in a secret forbidden area after going through numerous dangers and tribulations. As for Yu Yuan, he was in the meridian opening realm, and the first spirit incantation he cultivated was a high-grade one. What did this mean? It meant that during his long cultivation journey, Yu Yuan wouldn't have to run around and rack his brains to obtain new incantations to replace the one he was currently cultivating. After he woke up, his temperament changed greatly. He's steady and ruthless in his actions, and he seems to be able to concoct pills and possess a high-grade incantation. As Yuan Lianyao sized up Yu Yuan, she increasingly felt that he was surrounded by mysterious halos. This had also aroused her curiosity, making her want to peel off the layers of mysterious halos and figure out exactly how many secrets this Yu clan youth who had come back from the dead was hiding. City Lord, you've misjudged me. The incantation I cultivate is very ordinary. Without batting an eyelid, Yu Yuan covered his lower dantian region with the palm of his left hand and said with a teasing smile, "Sister, you're making me, your younger brother, a little flustered when you look at this part of my body." "What the hell are you flustered about?" Yuan Lianyao scolded fiercely before giggling. "All right, since you don't want to say anything, I won't force you." Clank, clank. She placed a dazzling array of spirit plants and a few bottles and jars on the table. "Here, these are the things you asked for. I've made a special trip here to deliver something to you. The old man you saw a few days ago, whose earthly soul was corroded by fire toxins, is very important to me." With these words, her expression finally grew serious. "I hope you'll take it seriously. If you can really get rid of the fire toxins in him, everything will be fine. But if you dare to deceive me or play tricks on me, don't blame me for being ruthless when the time comes." "Don't worry, leave it to me," Yu Yuan said in a low voice. "But you know that the competition between the three realms is about to begin. I hope you can give me some more time." "A competition between the three realms?" Yuan Lianyao frowned. After pondering for a few seconds, she suddenly said, "Since you call me sister, I'll give you a suggestion. You'd better give up on the competition between the Meridian opening stage cultivators." "Why?" Yu Yuan asked curiously. "It's for your own good. I don't want anything to happen to you." Yuan Lianyao pondered briefly before adding, "If you insist on joining the competition, I can only say that I'll guarantee that you won't die from serious injuries." With these words, the closed window silently opened. Yuan Lianyao's enchanting fiery figure suddenly shrank into a dazzling red lotus. The red lotus floated through the window and rapidly became illusory before disappearing. Before it finally disappeared, Yuan Lianyao's surprised voice rang out from within the red lotus. Yu Yuan immediately leaned over to the windowsill and saw An Ziqing, the maidservant who served him, leisurely walking over with a copper basin in her hands. The young girl was dressed in purple garments. Under the rising sun, she seemed to be emitting a misty light. "Young master!" Upon seeing Yu Yuan at the window, the pretty servant girl's eyes lit up. Her smile was so sweet that even Yu Yuan felt a bit dazzled. Yu Yuan closed his eyes. When he looked again, An Ziqing was already close to him. The strange feeling that she seemed to be emitting light from before was no longer there. This made Yu Yuan think that it was just an illusion caused by the sunlight shining on the copper basin. "Little Qing, how did you know that I woke up today?" Yu Yuan asked with a smile. Before returning from the spirit treasure room and cultivating with the imitation pearl, he had told An Ziqing that he didn't need her to take care of his daily necessities for the time being. 2 days ago, he didn't sense An Ziqing's presence because he had neglected to eat or sleep. Today, he had just reached the 10th level of the Meridian opening stage. When he woke up, he first saw City Lord Yuan Lianyao and then saw An Ziqing walking over with a copper basin. "Young master, I actually come here every morning." An Ziqing rolled her eyes and explained, "It's just that I didn't see you open the door the last few times, so I turned back." "What a coincidence today. I saw you looking at me from the window as soon as I came." "Did you see a red lotus just now? Did you hear anything?" Yu Yuan asked. "No." "What's wrong?" "Nothing. Wait a moment." After closing the window, Yu Yuan quickly walked back to the table, and moved the numerous spiritual materials and jars that Yuan Lianyao had brought to the table under the bed, so that Enziching wouldn't see them and ask about them incessantly. After taking a quick look, he knew that the materials he had asked for from the old man who practiced the scarlet refining devil incantation should be complete. He only needed a portion of the materials to get rid of the fire poison. He was going to use the other portion to refine a medicinal pill that would allow the old man to stand up again. All right. After arranging the spiritual materials, Yu Yuan shouted and opened the door to let Enziching in. Enziching placed the copper basin and towels on the table and was about to serve Yu Yuan. No need. I'll do it myself. Yu Yuan smiled and motioned for Enziching to move aside. Then, he wiped his neck and cheeks himself. Young master, have you heard of Huang Bin of the Huang clan? Enziching suddenly asked. Yu Yuan answered vaguely and continued his actions without even raising his head. That Huang Bin has opened all 12 meridians and is at the peak of the meridian opening realm. Looking at Yu Yuan, who didn't seem to care, Enziching said worriedly, I heard that he could have tried to break through to the spirit-nurturing realm 3 months ago. He purposely held back and didn't rush into the spirit-nurturing realm because he wanted to be the strongest person in the meridian opening realm during the competition between the 3 realms. After all, the competition between the 3 realms of the 4 great clans is related to the future profits of the clans. Enziching said seriously. Yu Yuan wrung the wet towel and finally raised his head. Of course I know the importance of the competition between the 3 realms. Otherwise, I wouldn't have cultivated so hard these past few days. In his eyes, Enziching didn't know about cultivation realms, so he didn't tell her that he had entered the 10th level of the meridian opening realm. Young master, I heard that Huang Bin said that if you dare to participate in the competition, he will beat you to death during the competition between the 3 realms. Enziching said anxiously. I've heard of Huang Bin many times. He's very ruthless. Young master, you just woke up not long ago. Do you want to talk to the old man and ask him not to participate in the competition? Huang Bin. Yu Yuan rubbed his chin. Little Yuan. His uncle Yu Wei hurried over. When he saw him, he immediately shouted, You'd better not participate in the competition between the 3 realms in 3 days. In the next 3 years, you can participate in the spirit-nurturing realm battles. Why? Have you heard any news? Yu Yuan gradually understood that something special must have happened. Otherwise, Yuan Lianyao, Enziching, and his uncle wouldn't have come to persuade him to stop the competition. The Huang clan seems to have instructed Huang Bin to kill you during the meridian opening realm battles. Yu Wei said angrily. The old man's legs were broken by the Huang clan. All these years, we've been bullied by the Huang clan. That's fine, but who would have thought that they would want to kill you when you finally woke up and started on the path of cultivation? Yu Yuan frowned. Can the competition between the 3 realms of the 4 great clans determine life and death? If both sides agree, it can. Yu Wei nodded. I'm afraid that the Huang clan will deliberately anger you and make you lose your mind. Then, you'll agree to it because of your face. To be honest, although Huang Bin is arrogant, he's indeed powerful in the meridian opening realm. As for you, Yu Wei sighed. You have no combat experience. Even if you're at the peak of the meridian opening realm like him, you still have no chance of winning. That's right. Combat experience is too important. It's too crucial. Enziching nodded like a chick pecking rice. It's useless to have cultivation without combat experience. What does Grandpa mean? Yu Yuan asked. The old man also thinks that you lack combat experience. Yu Wei didn't hide it. He thinks that you can participate, but you have to avoid Huang Bin and all of the Huang clan's sons. If you're really unlucky and run into Huang Bin, just admit defeat. Lack of combat experience, huh? Yu Yuan muttered to herself, then said, Uncle, I'm going to participate in the Meridian opening realm battle. As for the Huang clan and Huang Bin, I really want to see what they're capable of to kill me in public. Chapter 20. City Lord's Mansion. Yuan Lianyao stood in the spacious hall, her beautiful face full of seriousness. A majestic young man in silver armor stood tall and straight like a pine tree. His calm aura carried a faint smell of blood. It was obvious that he had been naturally nurtured by years of fighting. In the past 10 days, nearly 100 hunters and strong men have disappeared for no reason in the villages and towns around Dark Moon City. Li Feng, who was in charge of patrolling outside the city, was a capable general of the Yuan family. He was at the middle stage of the Golden Hall realm. He said in a hoarse voice, "I've been investigating until now, but I still haven't found any clues." Yuan Lianyao pondered and said, "Have there been any unusual strangers in and out of the city recently? Also, did anything special happen?" "There are no unusual strangers." Li Feng shook his head and thought for a moment. "In the past half-month, there have been several collapses in the Golden Coral Mountain controlled by the Huang family. There are many miners buried in the Golden Coral Mountain, and their corpses have not been taken out yet." Golden Coral Mountain. Yuan Lianyao frowned. The golden coral stone hidden in that mountain has been mined for many years. "I think it's gradually drying up," Li Feng explained. "The difficulty of mining will become greater and greater. It's too easy for something to happen to mortals who don't know how to cultivate to dig in the depth. And the value of the golden coral stone is just that. It's not worth inviting cultivators to take action." "I understand. In the eyes of the Huang family, the lives of mortal miners are not as valuable as the golden coral stone." Yuan Lianyao nodded and said, "Continue to track down the whereabouts of those missing people." "As you command, Father." In the secret underground room, Yuan Lianyao stared at Yuan Qiufang, who was bound by ice chains, and her heart was filled with guilt. "I've already handed those things to you, Yuan. He also promised me that when the competition between the 3 realms ends, he would deal with the fire poison that tormented your earth soul." "Oh right." Lin Hanyu looked for Huang Qin. Yuan Qiufang spat out a mouthful of fiery turbid qi that constantly splashed sparks. "Why did Lin Hanyu look for Huang Qin?" "After being warned by me, he didn't dare to openly make a move against you, Yuan, so he could only ask Huang Qin for help." Yuan Lianyao said with a sneer, "I really didn't expect that Lin Lao would fall into the hands of that boy Yu Yuan. If it wasn't for me, I think the Yu family might have lost a few more people. Lin Lao and his daughter might have been poisoned to death by Yu Yuan. Remember, you can't treat Yu Yuan like an ordinary person." Yuan Qiufang's expression was solemn. "Also, you have to ensure his safety. This is Anua City. Since I already know the situation, I'm afraid the Huang clan won't be able to kill him." Yuan Lianyao hesitated for a moment before saying, "In the past 10 days, nearly 100 hunters have gone missing outside the city. Is this matter related to Lord Father?" She knew that after obtaining the secret method from Yu Yuan, Qiufang Yuan had the ability to enter and leave Dark Moon City for a short period of time. Yuan Qiufang, who cultivated the crimson refining devil art, went through a bloody massacre when he lost control of his mind. This helped him alleviate the terrifying pressure brought by the fire poison. Because of this, when she learned that 100 hunters had gone missing outside the city, she couldn't help but suspect that it was Yuan Qiufang's doing. "It wasn't me. If it wasn't you, then who could it be?" Outside the city, Yu family town. Whoosh whoosh. Ning Ji casually waved his hand. Clusters of spirit energy condensed into balls of air that charged towards Yu Yuan. Under the moonlight, Yu Yuan moved freely within the clusters of air. Occasionally, he would be hit by the air balls, as if he was hit by a galloping chariot. Often, he would let out a muffled groan and stagger back 10 or so steps. Many of the bluestone slabs of the Yu family's old residence had already been trampled to pieces by him. Boom! Another cluster of spirit energy crashed into Yu Yuan's chest. His figure flew backwards and landed with a bang. All right. Let's end it here for today. Ning Ji withdrew his hand and looked at Yu Yuan, who was lying on his back under the night sky. He said, "Young Master Yu, why did you place so much importance on that Meridian opening realm battle?" Since noon, he had been dragged here by Yu Yuan and forced to fight under Yu Yuan's request. Or rather, he was beaten. Yu Yuan, who had a low cultivation and no battle experience, was clearly looking for a beating when facing him. This continued for several hours. It was almost midnight, but Yu Yuan still wasn't willing to stop. He could see that Yu Yuan's body was extraordinary, but he really hadn't experienced any battle before. His footwork, techniques, and breathing rate were all very crude. This made him very worried about the Meridian opening realm battle later. However, he was still filled with curiosity about Yu Yuan. After all, Yu Yuan had cured his old friend's poison. He had also heard about the chaos that had occurred in the Yu family's hall. Due to his curiosity, he continued to stay at the Yu family's residence at Yu Kan's request. Furthermore, after Yu Yuan asked, he accompanied him to the Yu clan's town outside the city to help him hone his fighting skills. "Young Master Yu, how much longer are you going to lie there for?" Ning Ji was a little worried when he saw that Yu Yuan hadn't spoken for a long time. He couldn't help but walk up to him and ask with concern, "What's wrong? Are you tired? Can't take it anymore?" "If you're too tired, you should rest early and come back tomorrow. Something's wrong with the night sky tonight." Yu Yuan, who was lying on her back, stared at the crescent moon with a confused expression on her face. "Grandpa Ning, take a look at the halo of the moon tonight. Doesn't it have a faint crimson color?" Ning Ji raised his head and took a closer look. Just as Yu Yuan had said, the moonlight released by the crescent moon had a faint crimson hue to it. "Isn't it normal for the moonlight to change slightly as the seasons change?" "No, it's not normal." Yu Yuan shook his head and slowly rose to his feet. "I don't know why, but I feel a little suffocated." Ning Ji fell silent. He had long since known that Yu Yuan, who had come back from the dead, had many secrets. Of course, he had his own reasons for staying at the Yu clan. Now, the strange behavior that Yu Yuan was showing made him ponder deeply. "I have a feeling that something might happen tonight." Yu Yuan observed the moonlight for a while, his expression growing increasingly grim. "Grandpa Ning, you have to stay by my side tonight." "All right," Ning Ji said. Time passed by second. Yu Yuan and Ning Ji stayed in the courtyard where Ning Ji had set up the soul-summoning spell formation for him. Ning Ji had a bellyful of questions, but he chose to stay silent and wait with Yu Yuan. Later in the night, ear-piercing screams suddenly echoed out from the villages surrounding the Yu clan's town. "Grandpa Ning, come with me and take a look." Yu Yuan suddenly sprang to his feet. Ning Ji's expression flickered slightly, as if a shadow had been cast over his heart. He suddenly grew worried. Could it be the Frigid Insect scheme? The Frigid Insect had ordered the Lin clan's evil slave, Inju, to kill Yu Yuan twice, but had failed. Now that Lin Hanyu and his daughter had been injured again, it was very likely that they would try to kill him regardless of the consequences. This place was outside Dark Moon City, and Yuan Lianyao couldn't care less. Ning Ji had to consider Yu Yuan's safety. Even if there's something fishy, it can't be the Frigid Insect. Yu Yuan narrowed his eyes and took another deep look at the moonlight. With a heavy tone, he said, "The crimson hue has become a bit thicker." Li Feng, dressed in a suit of shining silver armor and holding a short spear of the same color, stood in the middle of the village and looked around. More than a dozen Dark Moon City guards were going in and out of the villages, each and every one of them with grim faces. No one spoke. The atmosphere was extremely oppressive. "My lord, we've checked everything. There's no one here." A guard finally stood in front of Li Feng with an ugly expression. I came to this village in the morning. There are more than 10 families and dozens of people. The people living in this village, who are also hunters, are one of the targets I determined. When I heard the screams, I immediately sent a signal to report, and we immediately rushed over. But the corner of his mouth twitched. He suppressed the grief and panic in his heart and said, "When we rushed over, there was no one here. The children I saw in the morning, as well as the sisters-in-law I told them to be careful, are all gone. In such a short time, there are also strong adult men. How can they all disappear just like that?" As he spoke, his eyes were wet. A portion of the guards of Dark Moon City came from the 4 great families, but there were also many who were selected from the villages and towns outside the city. As long as one had the talent for cultivation and received a strict selection, one could become a guard of Dark Moon City and be taught low-level cultivation spirit techniques, thus embarking on the path of cultivation. However, most of these city guards were at the Meridian Opening, Spirit Nurturing, and Golden Hall realms their entire lives. It was almost impossible for them to have any hope of entering the Breaking Profound realm. The guard who reported to Li Feng came from a nearby village. Although it was not the one in front of him, he also had relatives living here. The thought of the village that was still full of life during the day being empty at night made him panic. It was hard for him to think positively. Whoosh whoosh. The sound of something tearing through the air suddenly whistled over. "Who is it?" Li Feng shouted. The guards in the village instantly circulated their spirit energy and circulated it in their bodies, preparing for battle. Green, bright yellow, azure, and all kinds of different colored hazy halos were released from the bodies of the guards and the artifacts in their hands, causing the small village to be filled with unusually chaotic spirit energy fluctuations. "I'm Yu Yuan. I'm from Yu Town." In order to avoid misunderstandings, Yu Yuan reported his name from dozens of meters away. Yu Yuan. Li Feng and the nervous guards were stunned. Recently, this name was like thunder in their ears. "It's fine." Li Feng waved his hand, indicating for everyone not to be too nervous. When Yu Yuan and Ning Ji entered the village, he sized up Yu Yuan carefully and said, "Young Master Yu, why are you here in the middle of the night?" "I heard a strange sound and came." Yu Yuan looked around in the village and said, "Did everyone go missing?" Li Feng's expression changed slightly. "How did you know?" Yu Yuan's face darkened. "Other than this village, are there any other missing cases recently?" Li Feng took a deep breath, his eyes as cold as a cold knife. "There have been several similar missing cases. More than 100 hunters have gone missing. But today, this is the first time that the entire village has disappeared in a short period of time." Ning Ji, who had accompanied Yu Yuan, could tell that Li Feng's attitude was not good and was probably suspicious. "I am Ning Ji. I was invited by the Yu family's patriarch to disturb the Yu family recently." Ning Ji took the initiative to clear his name for Yu Yuan. "During this period of time, young Master Yu has been living in seclusion in the Yu family. He came to Yu Town this afternoon." "Then what do you know?" Li Feng said in a low voice. Yu Yuan looked at the crimson moon in the sky with a solemn expression and said in a low voice, "Dark Moon City is in trouble." Chapter 21. "You're just being an alarmist." Li Feng sneered, and a strong smell of blood seeped out from the tip of his silver spear. "It's just some missing hunters and mortals. How could it endanger Dark Moon City?" The other guards also had strange expressions. There were many cities and towns in Qianxian continent. Every once in a while, unexpected changes could happen. Some mortals died and some disappeared, but it wouldn't shake the foundation of the city. In Li Feng's guess, it should be a person who cultivated an evil spell. He passed by Dark Moon City and used some mortals to refine artifacts or condense spirit arts. Such cultivators came and went without a trace. They usually didn't stay for too long to avoid being targeted. If it was them who dared to run amok in Anua City, did they really think that Yuan Lianyao and the 4 great clans were pushovers? Did they really think that there was no one in the Silver Moon Empire? If you return to the city and see the city lord, please tell him that I want to see him, Yu Yuan said. Who do you think you are? Is the city lord someone you can easily see? Li Feng's attitude was unfriendly. Kid, you'd better behave in Yu Town. Not long ago, Yuan Lianyao had asked Yu Can to block the news of the fierce conflict in the Yu family's palace. Precisely so. Be it Huang Chun from the Huang family or Li Feng in front of her, neither of them knew that in the hall at that time, Yuan Lianyao had personally said that Yu Yuan could go to the city lord mansion to look for her at any time. With this village as the center, search for suspicious people within a 5-kilometer radius. All strangers must be strictly inspected. Li Feng frowned and looked at Ning Ji with a scrutinizing gaze. Mr. Ning, I've heard some news about you. I know that you have 4 flags that can summon souls. Inju broke them long ago, Ning Ji said bitterly. Li Feng nodded. I hope it's not you who wants to refine those flags and do something irrational. Go ahead and investigate. Ning Ji spread his hands, his eyes open. I'm just saying. I believe that Mr. Ning isn't that kind of person. Li Feng waved his hand and told everyone to spread out and search. Then, he said, besides, with Mr. Ning's cultivation realm, it would be a little difficult to make all the women and men in the village disappear completely in a short period of time. Ning Ji said frankly, I can't do it. I think so too. Li Feng cupped his fists and said, Recently, the outside of Dark Moon City is not peaceful. Take care. I still suggest that you return to the city tomorrow morning to avoid any accident. He was the last to leave after the guards. Under the crimson moonlight, this deserted village seemed to be covered in a faint layer of blood, which made Ning Ji, who had accompanied Yu Yuan here, have a bad feeling. Young Master Yu, what do you know about this place? Also, should we listen to Li Feng's suggestion and return to Anua City tomorrow morning? Right now, it's not safe outside the city. However, it won't be long before we enter the city. Yu Yuan stared at the night sky and frowned deeply. Sigh, this matter is too complicated. In fact, the wisest thing to do is to drag the family away from Dark Moon City as soon as possible and not get involved in this mess. Ning Ji was shocked. Is it really that serious? It's very serious. Yu Yuan sighed. My words are weak. I'm afraid that even if I say it, my clansmen might not believe me. Even if they believe me, it's not realistic for them to abandon everything and leave Dark Moon City in a hurry. But what? Ning Ji asked anxiously. However, if we don't leave as soon as possible, we might have to be buried with Dark Moon City. Yu Yuan shook his head and hesitated. He said, Elder Ning, accompany me in Dark Moon City. Look carefully at the east, west, north, and south directions outside the city. I want to make sure that the guess in my heart is true. All right. It was a sleepless night. Under Ning Ji's accompaniment, Yu Yuan spent more than half a day walking around the 4 corners of Dark Moon City. The next afternoon, the sky was dark. Yu Yuan pointed at a small mountain. Golden Lotus Mountain. It's the mine that your Yu family's sworn enemy, the Huang family, is guarding, Ning Ji explained. Huang Bin's father, Huang Qin, should be at Golden Lotus Mountain right now. According to the information we received, the person who wants to kill you in the Meridian Opening Realm competition is Huang Bin. Golden Lotus Mountain. Yu Yuan narrowed his eyes and slowly squatted down. He casually picked up a few stones and arranged them on the ground. Based on that formation, the formation I is at Golden Lotus Mountain. An idea gradually formed in his mind. He asked, Has there been any collapse of Mount Jinlo recently? Collapses happen frequently. Ning Ji was very surprised. How did you deduce this? Since the one guarding Golden Lotus Mountain is the Huang family. Yu Yuan's eyes turned cold. Then the Huang family is the collaborator in the city, the enemy's informant. Who wants to attack Dark Moon City, and how far do they want to go? Ning Ji was puzzled. I'll tell you later. Yu Yuan took a deep breath and said, I have a general answer in my heart. Let's return to the city now. I want to see Yuan Lianyao in person. Sai, if my guess is correct, the inside of Golden Lotus Mountain is probably covered in blood and corpses. The cave collapsed just to prevent the smell of blood from spreading and accident. Golden Silk Mountain, the interior of the mountain. Long stone paths crisscrossed with each other, and the ends of many of them were firmly blocked by broken stones. Now, corpses were strewn all over the stone paths. Many hair-thin blood threads pierced through the corpses and drew the blood from the corpses. They flowed along the blood threads. The blood threads glowing with scarlet light were like the lines of a formation or the meridians of a human body. They were complicated and mysterious. Thousands of blood threads glowed with light and carried thousands of strands of blood. They gathered in a huge, bright, and spacious cave that extended to the bottom of the mountain. Inside that huge cave, there were thousands of blood threads as thick as thumbs that wove together to form a huge blood net. The blood net hung high in the air, and almost filled the entire cave. Every intersection of the blood threads emitted a brilliant blood light. It was that little bit of blood light that illuminated the cave so brightly. However, this brightness caused the entire cave to turn blood red. Whoosh! Whoosh whoosh! A wisp of blood shadow shuttled back and forth in the large blood net. Every time the blood shadow passed by a net of blood threads, the brilliant blood light in the net would suddenly extinguish. It was as if a little blood essence had been devoured. Blood shadow, on the other hand, was gradually growing stronger. In front of the city lord's mansion, the person who received Yu Yuan was Li Feng, who had returned from outside the city. The city lord is in seclusion and meditating. He won't come out before the competition between the three realms. Li Feng's attitude was cold. Not to mention you, even I didn't see her after I came back. Brotherly, can you tell her that I, Yu Yuan, have some urgent news to tell her? In order to see Yuan Lianyao and explain the seriousness of the situation, he even called Li Feng Big Brother. Li Feng was surprised for a moment. His attitude was slightly better as he said, Young Master Yu, I don't have any prejudice against you. But the city lord is really not someone that anyone can meet easily. If she wasn't in seclusion, with your current attitude, I could help pass the message. But now I really can't. Are you sure? Yu Yuan confirmed once again. Li Feng shook his head. I just can't. Elder Ning, do it and blow this matter up. Yu Yuan slowly retreated and said, Don't worry, nothing will happen. Someone will come and clean up the mess. That's not good, right? Ning Ji pulled a long face. It's fine. Li Feng widened his eyes and looked at Yu Yuan and Ning Ji as if he was looking at an idiot. Are you crazy? This is the city lord's mansion of Dark Moon City. Mr. Ning, you are the same as me, only at the Golden Hall realm. You want to attack me in front of the city lord's mansion? Are you sure? At this moment, many people from Dark Moon City also noticed the strangeness of this place and gathered over. Ning Ji had a headache and said to Yu Yuan, Why don't we go back to the Yu family first and talk to your grandfather? It's the same if old Master Yu comes. Li Feng was also enraged. The city lord said not to disturb her before the competition between the three realms. That means that no one is allowed to disturb her, including old Master Yu. Fight. The bigger the mess, the better. There will always be someone to clean up the mess. Yu Yuan shouted impatiently, Elder Ning, if you trust my judgment, please be more decisive. All right. Ning Ji braced himself and attacked Dark Moon City's guard captain, Li Feng, outside the city lord's mansion. It was under Yu Yuan's instigation and instigation. This was equivalent to provoking the Yuan family and the entire Dark Moon City. Chapter 22. Rip. Streaks of silver-white lightning shot out violently from the short spear in Li Feng's hand. Outside the city lord's mansion, Li Feng was guarding the pass alone. The short spear pointed at an astonishing rainbow. At the Golden Hall realm, spirit energy could shoot out from one's limbs or with the help of artifacts to kill enemies. The short spear in his hand was called Silver Rainbow, and it was barely a Grade 1 spirit artifact. However, a Grade 1 spirit artifact was still a spirit artifact. When he injected spirit energy to activate the spirit diagram engraved inside the silver rainbow, it caused the spirit energy that was guided into the artifact to become even more refined. As a result, when the tip of the spear shot out, it was like silver lightning with extraordinary power. Silver lightning in the clear sky. On the other hand, Ningji, who was challenging him, was miserable and could only take a beating. He formed a seal with his hands, and every time he clapped his palms together, there would be a blue light shield as thin as a cicada's wing. The blue light shield was shattered by the silver lightning and condensed again. Ningji originally had a late-stage Golden Hall realm cultivation and was slightly higher than Li Feng's realm. However, in this battle, he was suppressed and almost had no strength to fight back. Yu Yuan watched from the side and felt slightly guilty. He knew very well that the reason why Ningji was not Li Feng's match was mainly because of him. Ningji was old, and his cultivation path was almost at its end. The soul-attracting flag that he had obtained with great difficulty was also destroyed by Yin Ju when he was using the soul-attracting array for himself, and he suffered a backlash on the spot. Without a suitable artifact, his injuries had not healed, and he was in the wrong. How could he be Li Feng's match? As expected of the guard captain, Big Brother Li has such combat strength at such a young age. I'm afraid he can step into the Shattering Profound realm in the future. If he really enters the Shattering Profound realm, Big Brother Li will completely leave us and rise to the top. Many of the guards of Dark Moon City looked at Li Feng, who had displayed his might, and seemed to be motivated. All of them were in high spirits, as if they had seen their future. Like them, Li Feng was born a commoner and did not have an illustrious family background. Such a person did not have a family background to support him. Just because he had cultivation talent, he became a guard of Dark Moon City after many rounds of selection. He was still young, but he already had a Golden Hall realm cultivation. Such a person was simply an inspirational role model, an idol that they could see. Li Feng's existence seemed to be to tell them that as long as they were willing to work hard and cultivate, even if they were born lowly, they would still have the hope of reaching the breaking profound realm and becoming a big shot. One day, I will become someone like Big Brother Li. A dark-skinned youth, who was only at the meridian opening realm, clenched his fists and swore to himself. A bolt of silver lightning broke through the blue spirit energy shield and shot towards Ningji's chest. With a bang, Ningji retreated and fell to the ground. Li Feng snorted and did not pursue the victory. Instead, he stood proudly on the spot and said, "Please return." Ningji smiled bitterly at Yu Yuan, feeling somewhat embarrassed. "Old Ning has worked hard. I will remember the grievances you suffered today." Yu Yuan bowed, his eyes bright and clear. "In the future I will definitely repay you." Ningji nodded and thought to himself, "I hope that my eyes aren't blurred from old age, and that I really made the right bet. Looking at the time, it's about time. After all, the commotion is not small." Yu Yuan ignored him. There were many strange gazes around him. He stood beside Ningji and kept looking at the city lord's mansion. "Why aren't you leaving?" Li Feng frowned. "I'm waiting for someone." "Invite me in," Yu Yuan said with a smile. "Invite you in? Because you offended the city lord, am I going to escort you in?" Li Feng mocked. Yu Yuan shook his head and smiled without saying anything. Many onlookers were confused and did not understand what was going on. "Li Feng, please invite Yu Yuan in." Right at this moment, Yuan Lianyao's lazy and tired voice came from the city lord's mansion. Before I went into seclusion, I forgot to remind you that I actually have an appointment with you, Yuan. Hearing those words, the Dark Moon City's guards and the other bystanders all revealed confused expressions. Li Feng also had a strange expression. You have an appointment? He stared at Yu Yuan with a rather complicated look in his eyes before he braced himself and said, I'm sorry, young master Yu. Please come with me. Elder Ning, wait a moment. Yu Yuan turned around and said before following Li Feng to the city lord's mansion. He had long known that as long as he made a commotion outside the city lord's mansion, he would be able to alarm Yuan Lianyao or the old man from the Red Devil School. With their cultivation bases, the wind and grass around them might not be able to alarm them. However, they would definitely be able to sense the fight outside the city lord's mansion. As long as the old man from the Red Devil School was awake for a moment and his spirit consciousness flew over, he would immediately know that it was him. He could not see Yuan Lianyao's exact realm clearly, but he still believed that with that woman's methods and ability, she should be able to do it too. As it turned out, his guess was correct. A moment later, under Li Feng's lead, he entered the solemn and dignified hall of the city lord's mansion. He also saw the graceful and enchanting beautiful woman in the hall again. Sister, we meet again, Yu Yuan said with a smile, neither arrogant nor humble. Li Feng raised his eyebrows and his expression turned unfriendly again. You can leave first. Yuan Lianyao did not mind. She first instructed Li Feng to leave before saying with a smile, What's so urgent that you need to cause such a big commotion? Hee, are you afraid after hearing that the Huang family wants to kill you? I'm not afraid that the Huang family will kill me. Yu Yuan stepped forward and stopped when he was a meter away from her. He was so close that he could smell the fragrance on her body. I'm afraid that the Huang clan will kill all the cultivators in Anyu City, as well as the numerous mortals. Yuan Lianyao was speechless. What nonsense are you talking about? In the northern part of the tranquil continent, the strength of the sect is on par with the Red Devil School and slightly inferior to the Blood God of the Devil's Palace and the Goblin Temple. You should know about it, right? Yu Yuan said. I've heard of it. There was clearly some disgust on Yuan Lianyao's face. The reputation of the Blood God is not very good. They have been fighting with the Red Devil School for many years and their strength is on par. No one can do anything to each other. Then, do you know what it's like when the earth soul of a believer of the Blood God transforms into a Yin soul? Yu Yuan asked again. I've vaguely heard of it, but I don't know the details. Yuan Lianyao frowned. I only heard that those believers of the Blood God who have condensed their Yin souls will often cause rivers of blood to flow at this juncture. So you know a little. Yu Yuan no longer tried to be secretive and said, There are believers of the Blood God outside Dark Moon City who are secretly setting up a blood sacrifice formation. Those disappeared hunters are using their blood to engrave the blood sacrifice formation in the early stages. When the blood sacrifice formation is fully formed, Dark Moon City will be enveloped by a crimson moon. Everyone inside and outside the city will be trapped in the formation. Once the formation is complete, the first to encounter it will be those with the highest cultivation. The strongest cultivators of the three great families, the old man Yu Hid who cultivates the crimson refining demonic arts, will be the first to be sacrificed and will die first. After that, it will be the profound shattering realm, the golden hall realm, the spirit nurturing realm, the meridian opening realm, and so on. After the cultivator's blood that contains spirit energy is completely drained and they all die, it will be the turn of the mortals who are full of blood and qi. Then, Yu Yuan explained to Yuan Lianyao the terrifying nature of the blood sacrifice spell formation in detail. When he said the words, blood sacrifice formation, Yuan Lianyao's expression didn't relax. As his explanation went deeper, Yuan Lianyao's expression became more and more serious. In the end, when he finished, Yuan Lianyao didn't say anything for a long time. After a long while, Yuan Lianyao opened her mouth and found that her voice was extremely hoarse. She also immediately understood that it was difficult for her to remain calm in the face of the infamous blood god and the inhumane blood sacrifice formation. How sure are you that the blood god is responsible for the abnormalities in Dark Moon City? About 80 to 90%. Yuan crouched down, took out a few stones, and arranged them in front of Yuan Lianyao. Then, he pointed at a location and said, "This is Mount Jinlo. Based on my understanding of the blood sacrifice formation, the formation core is at Mount Jinlo. Mount Jinlo is guarded by the Huang family, and there have been a lot of collapses recently. It is very likely that they are cooperating with the blood god." When he said this, Yuan Lianyao's expression suddenly changed slightly. "Sister, did you think of something?" Yuan said softly. "About that, every time the three realms compete, the four families take turns to arrange the battlefield." Yuan Lianyao's eyes turned cold. "It can be inside Dark Moon City, or outside the city guarded by the families. Coincidentally, it is the Huang family's turn to arrange the location of the three realms competition. Even more coincidentally, the Huang family told me that the battlefield they chose is Mount Jinlo. Originally, she was still half doubtful, but at this moment, she was more than half convinced. There were just too many coincidences. I won't ask how you discovered the blood sacrifice formation and why you know so much about the blood god. Yuan Lianyao was very smart and knew what the most important thing was. She took a deep breath and said with a serious expression, "I just want you to tell me what we should do and what we should do to help Dark Moon City survive this calamity." Chapter 23. Outside the city, at the Golden Lotus Mountain. The four great clans held a competition between the three realms every 3 years, and the Huang clan had chosen this place as the venue. It was early in the morning and the sky was dark. It seemed like the sun wouldn't rise today. The valley had been cleaned and tidied up, and there were many tall platforms. The leaders of the four great clans, as well as their core forces, were all present, scattered and gathered in various places. Every platform was built with hard stones, and they were used as battleground. Yuan supported Old Master Yukan's wheelchair as he listened to Old Master Yukan introduce the important figures of the other three clans. On Yuan Lianyao's side, there was Li Feng and several elders with the surname Yuan. Each of them had a powerful aura, and it was obvious that they weren't people to be trifled with. The city lord might be a woman, but her cultivation is actually higher than the older generation in Anus City, Yukan introduced. If I'm not wrong, the city lord should be in the early stage of the subtle realm. She's probably the only subtle realm cultivator in Anus City. She's already in the subtle realm at such a young age. The Yuan clan might become a pillar of the empire like the Lin clan or the Su clan in the future. Before his legs were broken and his cultivation dropped, Yukan was only in the breaking profound realm. Compared to Yuan Lianyao, his cultivation and talent were far inferior. "The Yuan clan isn't that simple," Yuan whispered. The old man from the Red Devil School was someone who was close to forming a Yin soul, so he definitely had a close relationship with Yuan Lianyao. Furthermore, he was currently hiding in the City Lord Manor. After failing to form a Yin soul, the old man was only in the middle stage of the subtle realm, and with his experience, his strength was comparable to that of a late-stage subtle realm cultivator. That was why the old man could kill Lu Mang of the Frigid Yin sect so easily. It was precisely because the Yuan family was powerful. Yuan Lianyao was the head of the Yuan family and the city lord of the Anus City, and the old man of the Crimson Fiend sect was hiding in secret. That Yuan dared to continue to stay and take risks with the city lord even when she knew the existence and conspiracy of the Blood Divine sect. By the way, why did you barge into the city lord's mansion and insist on seeing the city lord? You can ask curiously. I just wanted to ask if she would care about the Huang clan spreading the word that they would kill me during the Three Realms competition. Yu Yuan smiled and placed his hands on the old man's shoulders, indicating for him to relax. The city lord said that she can guarantee that I will not die in the hands of the Huang family's juniors. Is there really such a guarantee? Yu Kan's eyes were filled with doubt. Ever since he received the news that the Huang family was going to kill Yu Yuan, he didn't approve of Yu Yuan continuing to participate in the battle. However, under Yu Yuan's insistence, he finally agreed. But in his heart, he was still worried. Grandpa, don't worry. I'll be fine, Yu Yuan said, then turned and glanced at his aunt, Yu Hu, and asked, Is that thing useful? Last night, he secretly went to Yu Hu and gave him the black dragon scissors. Even Yu Hu's eyebrows were filled with joy. Of course. Kid, you're really something. Don't worry, no matter who my opponent is, I will win in this Golden Hall Realm competition. After she finished speaking, her gaze fell on the Zhao family. Beside Zhao Dongxing, who was as fat as a mountain of flesh, stood a tall white-robed man. He seemed to be bored to death, as if he didn't care about the Three Realms competition. Zhao Shi is also at the late stage of the Golden Hall realm. He should be your greatest enemy. Yu Kan frowned and said, Zhao Dongxing's younger brother has no interest in managing the Zhao family. He wants to leave Qianxian continent. He has no talent in managing the family, but in the path of cultivation, he will probably surpass Zhao Dongxing in the future. Yu Hu was filled with fighting spirit. I knew that he would be my strongest opponent. On the side of the Zhao family, there was a beautiful girl in a long blue dress. She had bright eyes and white teeth, and was gracefully smiling at Yu Hu as she said, Auntie Yu, if you fight with my uncle, please go easy on him. Brat, remember to call me big sister. Yu Hu glared at her angrily and said, Serves you right for being trapped in the spirit nurture realm and not being able to break through. Yu Yuan was stunned, so he took a few more glances. So she is Zhao Yafu. They were both in Dark Moon City, and were one of the four great families. The Yu family and the Zhao family weren't enemies, and the Zhao family operated all kinds of shops all year round. The Zhao family and the Yu family didn't interfere with each other's business, and many of their clansmen were familiar with each other. Yu Hu obviously knew Zhao Yafu. They had interacted before, and they seemed to be quite familiar with each other. Otherwise, she wouldn't speak like this. Yafu greets big brother Yu. The beautiful girl from the Zhao family, who was standing quite a distance away from Yu Yuan, bowed respectfully as her dazzling eyes lingered on Yu Yuan's body. Please forgive me if I disturb you in any way in the future, big brother Yu. Not only the Yuan family, the Yu family, and the Huang family, but even many people in the Zhao family exclaimed in surprise. As her father, Zhao Dongxing was already the next patriarch of the Zhao family. As for Zhao Yafu, she was chosen by the dragon concealing lake since birth, and had the soul of an infant dragon implanted in her. She was very likely to be the dragon attendant of the dragon concealing lake in the future. The core members of the Zhao family all believed that Zhao Yafu was the future of the Zhao family and the link between the dragon concealing lake and the Zhao family. As for the death of the infant dragon and the Zhao family's secret plan to devour the dragon, only 3 to 5 people in the Zhao family knew about it. Most of the Zhao family members were kept in the dark. As the pride of the family and the future dragon attendant, Zhao Yafu's high opinion of Yu Yuan puzzled them. You're welcome. Yu Yuan nodded from afar and smiled lightly as she said, Little girl, you're really a bully. You should have stepped into the Golden Hall realm, yet you just happened to suppress your cultivation. Do you want to take the first in the spirit nurture realm and obtain benefits for the clan? Zhao Yafu smiled sweetly. Big brother Yu, don't laugh at me. The family nurtured me, so I naturally have to do my best for the family. Both of them were smart people. They knew the details, but they still deliberately said so. Strange. Strange. On the Huang family's side, Huang Bin's expression was gloomy as he glanced at Zhao Yafu and Yu Yuan. These two people probably don't know each other. Zhao Yafu, Huang Bin, and even Yu Yuan were actually all of the same age. The most dazzling person in the third generation of the four great clans was Zhao Yafu. She'd already attained the peak of the spirit-nurturing realm at such a young age, and it was rumored that she was only a step away from stepping into the Golden Hall realm. What sort of natural talent was this? Lin Zhuyun, who'd entered the Golden Hall realm before her, was the pride of the Silvermoon Empire, and she only possessed her current cultivation and strength under the support of the Frostmoon sect. She was merely a realm weaker than Lin Zhuyun. Huang Bin, who was of the same age as her, had high hopes placed on him by the Huang family as well. However, Huang Bin was only at the peak of the Meridian Opening realm, and there was an entire realm between them. In Huang Bin's heart, this beloved daughter of Zhao Dongxing was a dream that was beyond his reach. However, Zhao Yafu just so happened to favor Yu Yuan, who had just recovered from his stupor, during the competition between the three realms. She even called him Big Brother Yu, and her tone and attitude were unusually warm. Huang Bin looked at the two of them and felt even more upset. At the same time, he became even more determined to kill Yu Yuan. It's about time. At this moment, the city lord, who was as beautiful as a red lotus, flew lightly onto a high platform. As soon as she opened her mouth, the members of the four great clans who were whispering to each other instantly stopped talking. Everyone's gazes instantly gathered on her. Since it's the same every time, then I won't bother to explain the rules. You all know what to do. Yuan Lianyao's gaze swept over the faces of the leaders of the other three great clans. You should have warned the participants before you came. I hope you won't bother me again. Before she withdrew her gaze, she took one last glance at Yu Yuan. Yu Yuan nodded imperceptibly. Then, let's begin the competition between the Meridian Opening stage of the three realms. Yuan Lianyao stood alone on the high platform and said condescendingly, the four great clans will send 3 participants to participate in the competition. I'll draw lots first to decide the clans that will be fighting each other, and then you'll continue to draw lots to decide your opponent. The 4 great clans would face each other in pairs. As the clan master of the Yuan clan, she only needed to choose the Yuan clan's opponent first, and then the remaining 2 clans would have to fight each other. This was the majesty of the strongest expert in Dark Moon City. The bamboo sticks that represented the Zhao clan, the Huang clan, and the Yu clan were brought over by Huang Qin, Yu Wei, and Zhao Dongxing. After they were mixed up in the bamboo tube, Yuan Lianyao casually picked up a bamboo stick with 2 slender fingers. She looked down at it and laughed softly. It's the Zhao clan again. She looked at Zhao Dongxing with a smile. The fat Zhao Dongxing sighed and said with a long face, "Sigh, I'm so unlucky. Alright, the Huang clan and the Yu clan will fight each other first. Only after the winner is decided will it be our turn." With an indifferent expression, Yuan Lianyao waved her hand, signaling Yu Wei and Huang Qin to quickly start the best of 3 matches so that they wouldn't waste too much of her time. Let's stop drawing lots, Huang Qin said with a grin. Huang Qin grinned and said, My son, Huang Bin, has long heard of Yu Yuan's great name. I would like to fight Yu Yuan first, is that possible? He fixed Yu Wei with a provocative look. This doesn't seem to be in line with the rules, does it? Zhao Dongxing chimed in. Yu Can's face fell. The Huang clan is too impatient. I agree. With a soft laugh, Yuan Lianyao pointed at Huang Bin and Yu Yuan and said, The first match of the Meridian Opening stage will be between the 2 of you. Oh right. She patted her head and seemed to suddenly think of something. Then, she added, this match will determine victory and defeat, as well as life and death. Chapter 24. Creak. You can suddenly press down on the wooden chair, and was about to rise to his feet. City Lord. What are you talking about? Behind him, Yu Yuan put a hand on his shoulder and whispered, Don't worry, Grandpa. Sit down first. You can sat down in confusion and turned to look at him, his eyes filled with confusion. You just said that the city lord promised you that he'd make sure you're safe, right? Don't ask too many questions, Grandpa, Yu Yuan said softly. I'll be fine. Trust me. City lord? Huang Chun from the Huang clan was also flabbergasted. Did I hear that right? Since victory and defeat had to be decided, shouldn't he be the one to make the request? According to the plan, he had planned to provoke Yue first, and then let Huang Bin provoke Yu Yuan. Finally, he would lure Yu Yuan into the battle with a larger share of the profit. Why would the city lord, Yuan Lianyao, make such a suggestion? On the Yuan clan's side, Li Feng, the head of the guards, shook his head and looked at Yuan Lianyao with astonishment in his eyes. It's against the rules. You were the one who said that everything had to be done according to the rules. It's already against the rules to choose two people to fight without drawing lot. And you even said that you wanted to fight to the death? This is simply nonsense. Li Feng felt a headache coming on. After Yuan Lianyao said that the battle between Yu Yuan and Huang Bin was feasible, the members of the four major clans burst into an uproar. Everyone was in an uproar, discussing loudly. Dark Moon City had held many battles between the three realms, but none of them were as ridiculous as this one. Don't worry. Yuan Lianyao had a lazy look on her face. It was unknown where she had gotten a wooden chair, but her round buttocks sat down. In front of the many elders, she had a generous and dignified bearing, but she wasn't angry. Huang Chen, I know about the matters of your Huang family. Now you can make the decision. Huang Bin is your son. Do you agree to a life-and-death battle? Haha. Of course I agree. Huang Chen burst into laughter as his fierce gaze suddenly landed on Yue, and you can, to be honest, I would have done the same even if the city lord hadn't suggested it. A battle of life and death must be agreed upon by both sides. Yuan Lianyao nodded. Brother Yue, as long as you agree, if Yu Yuan wins, 30% of the profits from all the mines outside the city will go to your Yu clan. If Yu Yuan loses this battle, our Huang family doesn't want a single cent. Huang Chen's voice was powerful and resonant as he stated his conditions. If Yu Yuan won, the Huang family would cede the profit. If Yu Yuan lost, the Huang family would not want the profits from the medicinal garden. It was clear that he only wanted Yu Yuan dead. What do you think? Yuan Lianyao chuckled. Agreed. Yue said numbly. Many Yu clan members exclaimed in shock, as they all felt that Yue was acting strangely today. What the hell is going on? Yukan looked at Yue and Yu Yuan with a strange look in her eyes as she asked, Did you talk to my eldest uncle about something? Yue's behavior was simply too abnormal. This naturally made him think of Yu Yuan, who was even more abnormal. Yu Yuan nodded slightly. What about the city master? Yukan asked. Just watch, Grandpa. Yu Yuan pressed his hand gently on the back of Yu Kan's hand and said, I'm a lucky man. I won't die so easily. With these words, he strode towards Yuan Lianyao under everyone's gazes. Everyone's gazes instantly converged on him. So he's the young master of the Yu clan who came back from the dead. I finally get to see him in person. He's quite handsome. He's not any less handsome than Huang Bin. He's been in a coma for 17 years, and now he's going to be sacrificed by Yue? Even if he's also at the Meridian opening stage, how could he possibly be a match for Huang Bin? The way I see it, Yue is doing this on purpose. He's trying to kill him. If he dies, Yue will become the clan master of the Yu clan. That's right. He's the old man's grandson. After he wakes up, he'll definitely threaten Yue's position as the clan master. Some conspiracy theorists believed that Yue had agreed to help Yuan Lianyao and Huang Chen because he wanted to kill Yu Yuan, so that he wouldn't be able to threaten his position in the future. Good luck, big brother Yu Yuan. From the Zhao family's side, A sweet and clear sound of encouragement suddenly rang out. Yu Yuan looked over and saw Zhao Yafu waving her hand vigorously with a sweet smile on her face. I knew you'd win. After this is over, I'd like to ask you for advice on some things. Yu Yuan nodded. Sure. As he passed by Yue gave him a deep look and said, Be careful. Yu Yuan nodded, but didn't say much to him. Instead, he turned to Yuan Lianyao and asked, Which platform will the first battle be held on? Here. Yuan Lianyao raised her hand and pointed at the platform across from her. Then, she took out a handful of melon seeds from somewhere and said while cracking them, There's nothing special about it. Let's call it over after one of them dies. Whoosh! Huang Bin leaped into the air and landed on the stage. Standing at the center of the stage, he sucked in a deep breath and shouted, Yuan, not long ago I told you at the city gate that I would let you pass. But since you dared to participate in the Meridian opening battle, I won't let you go. I'll beat you to death for real. Zhao Shi raised his head and finally looked at Huang Bin. Immediately, he secretly shook his head. Big brother Yafu, are you hiding something from me? No. Zhao Dongxing pretended to be ignorant. You think too highly of that silly boy from the Yu clan. There's something fishy about it. Zhao Shi stared at Zhao Yafu curiously. Don't tell me you've fallen in love with that silly boy? I don't remember you two ever meeting before. It's the first time we've met. Zhao Yafu spread her hands and giggled. But I have a good impression of Big Brother Yu Yuan. A good impression? Zhao Shi frowned and observed Yu Yuan with increasing curiosity. Unlike Huang Bin, Yu Yuan walked slowly up the stairs to the square platform. From the beginning to the end, Yu Yuan had been unusually calm. Huang Bin's provocation was loud, but he seemed to be deaf and couldn't hear a thing. Zhao Shi's pupils shrank and his expression changed slightly. Strange. What did you see? Zhao Dongxing asked curiously. Frowning, Zhao Shi lowered his voice and said, Huang Bin is panicking. His cultivation base is clearly higher, and his battle prowess is stronger. He's the one who's sure to win. On the other hand, Yu Yuan is too calm and collected. It's as if in his eyes, this kind of battle where one of them is destined to die is nothing. Yeah, it's just foreplay, Zhao Dongxing mumbled vaguely. What's going on? Zhao Shi felt uneasy in the depths of his heart. Subconsciously, he looked up at the gloomy sky and felt a sense of oppression. Big brother, don't think that I'm stupid just because I don't care about anything. Zhao Dongxing nodded. You're indeed my little brother. Your intuition is indeed impressive. Let's just wait and see. Zhao Shi's heart grew heavier after hearing his words. Will little Yuan be alright, little Ji? Seeing Yu Yuan walk onto the platform, the old man's heart was in turmoil. He pulled Yu Ji aside and asked. Yu Ji bowed his head and said, He should be fine. Are you and little Wei hiding something from me? Yu Kan's doubts grew stronger and stronger. Don't ask. I don't know the details. Anyways, Yuan has given me a handy spiritual tool. I trust him, said Yu Li. A spiritual tool? Yu Kan's expression flickered with astonishment. All right, stop asking, Yu Ji said anxiously. Sigh, Yu Kan sighed. Please. Yu Yuan went up to the stage and stood there calmly. Then, she looked at Huang Bin with a pitiful gaze. Remember, the ones who killed you weren't anyone else, but your father and grandfather. He looked at a skinny old man in the Huang clan's corner. Eyes narrowed, the old man hadn't said a word since the beginning. He had left all the decisions in the Huang clan to his son, Huang Chun, while he stayed in the corner, as if he had nothing to do with it. I'm going to die. Huang Bin laughed. I'm going to die. It seems that you haven't cured your strange disease yet. Cut the crap. I've been waiting for a long time. The city lord, who was munching on sunflower seeds, urged impatiently. Time is of the essence. Don't waste any more time. She said the last sentence to Yu Yuan, but not many people understood. Chapter 25. Huang Bin walked towards Yu Yuan with a majestic gait and threw a punch at his face. His folded arms had a golden complexion, giving off a feeling of toughness as if they were made of gold and iron. Yu Yuan raised his hand and blocked with his palm. Bang! A heavy brute force came crashing towards him. Yu Yuan twisted his waist and took a few steps back. He immediately felt a burning pain in his palm. Even his shoulder joint felt numb. Huang Bin didn't follow up with another attack. Instead, he stopped and looked at him coldly. Does it hurt? Yu Yuan didn't say a word. This was his first real battle since he had been reborn. And the first battle was to determine life and death. The Meridian Opening Realm was the lowest realm of cultivators. In this realm, a cultivator's golden court dantian hadn't been opened, so spirit energy couldn't temper their flesh and organs. Moreover, the spirit energy of the Meridian Opening Realm couldn't be released. Compared to mortals, Meridian Opening Realm cultivators only had tough meridians. After spirit energy flowed through the opened meridians, it made part of their muscles stronger. Because all 12 of Huang Bin's meridians had been opened, his strength, speed, and explosiveness were a level higher. Although the black gold incantation he cultivated was only a low-grade incantation, the spirit energy he condensed in the meridian opening stage could slightly strengthen his meridians and surrounding muscle fibers, allowing him to be more resistant to attacks. Both of them were in the meridian opening realm. Yu Yuan had 10 of his meridians open, while Huang Bin had 12 and was about to enter the spirit nurture realm. In terms of strength on the surface, Huang Bin was in a stable position. Let's continue, Yu Yuan suddenly said. Without activating the 9 lights heavenly wheel, he could clearly sense that the soreness and numbness in his palms and shoulder joints had been greatly alleviated by the healing effects of the channel opening pill in his body. Below the stage, Huang Chen let out a deep cry. When Huang Bin looked over, he signaled with a cruel gaze. Huang Bin sucked in a breath. When he looked at Yu Yuan again, his killing intent suddenly surged. I'm sorry. Yu Yuan gently closed his eyes. When he opened them again, his expression was strangely indifferent. Come. Yuan Lianyao slowly sat up straight and threw a melon seed into her red lips, chewing it carefully. At this moment, the members of the 4 great clans who were scattered around the high platform felt an inexplicably oppressive atmosphere, as if they had a premonition that a bloody battle was about to break out. Zhao Shi raised his head and stared at the strange gloomy sky, frowning slightly. Again, Huang Bin roared as he threw another punch at him. The forearm he used to punch suddenly turned golden. The veins under his skin looked like ferocious golden flood dragons, giving people a feeling of ferocity and brutality. To be able to cultivate the Huang clan's black gold art to such a level at the Meridian Opening Realm, he can be considered a top figure. Withdrawing his gaze from the sky, Zhao Shi paid attention to the battlefield again. He stared at Huang Bin at that moment, nodded, and made his evaluation softly. What a pity! Zhao Dongxing sighed. Come. Yu Yuan, who had used the same method to meet Huang Bin's attack with his palm, suddenly faced it head-on. His clothes were tightly wrapped around his arm, and no one could see his flesh and skin. Only he himself knew that there was a dazzling stream of light flying through the veins in his arm like a resplendent rainbow. The black gold art is but a low-grade spirit art. The corner of his mouth curved into a mocking smile. Realm doesn't completely represent one's battle prowess. This is a principle that all cultivators who truly stand at the peak of the pyramid understand deeply. When Huang Bin's golden fist smashed towards him like an iron hammer, 9 dots of light suddenly bloomed at the center of Yu Yuan's palm. They were like 9 suns that were held in Yu Yuan's palm, shining brilliantly. 9 lights heavenly wheel, Yu Yuan exclaimed softly in his heart. For an instant, all the spectators felt that his palm had suddenly become bright. Boom! In the next moment, Huang Bin's golden fist smashed into Nie Tian's palm. The moment Huang Bin's golden fist made contact with Nie Tian's palm, it strangely shrunk, and all of the golden light was instantly devoured by Nie Tian's palm. Huang Bin's fist was actually firmly grasped by Yu Yuan's palm. He looked at Yu Yuan in shock. At this moment, he sensed with fear that Yu Yuan's palm was twisting and squirming in an extremely strange manner. The spiritual power he had gathered in his golden fist couldn't even hold on for a second before it collapsed with a loud bang. Without the support of his spiritual power, the light on Huang Bin's fist instantly faded away, and it no longer had any power or deterrence. Don't blame me. If you want to blame someone, blame the clan behind you and the person who ordered you to do this. Yu Yuan shook his head at Huang Bin with a regretful expression on his face. Crack! The bones in Huang Bin's hand let out a cracking sound that could only be heard by true experts. The skinny old man, who was surrounded by the Huang clan members, suddenly rose to his feet and shouted in a tyrannical manner, "Don't you dare!" It was also at this moment that everyone saw Yu Yuan's empty hand gently press against Huang Bin's chest, while Huang Bin's hand was still tightly gripped by the old man's broken hand. In Huang Bin's chest, a bright red lotus blossomed enchantingly. As the lotus blossomed, Huang Bin's chest unnaturally twisted and caved in. Then, large mouthfuls of blood flowed out of Huang Bin's mouth and nose uncontrollably. Father, grandfather, Huang Bin's eyes widened as he looked at his father, Huang Chen, and his tyrannical grandfather in confusion, as if he didn't know what had happened. Bang! Huang Bin fell to the ground with a loud crash, dead just like that. Yu Yuan withdrew his hand and took a few steps back. The direction he took was very close to Yuan Lianyao, the city lord. At this moment, the city lord rose to his feet again. Standing on the high platform, he looked coldly at Huang Chen and Huang Fan, the patriarch of the Huang clan, and said, "You agreed to this life-or-death match. What? It's your clan that died. Are you going back on your word now?" Only when she spoke did many of the spectators suddenly realize what had happened. Huang Bin was suddenly killed by Yu Yuan? When Yu Yuan met Huang Bin's attack with his palm, 9 spots of light suddenly appeared in his palm. What was going on? Furthermore, what really killed Huang Bin was the lotus blossoming in his chest. Could it be? Did you imprint that blazing blood lotus seal on Yu Yuan's other hand? The patriarch of the Huang clan walked through the crowd towards Yuan Lianyao, step by step. His eyes gradually turned golden as he said, "My grandson is dead. Shouldn't the city lord give me an explanation?" Yuan Lianyao was known as the Blazing Blood Lotus, and the Blazing Blood Lotus seal was also unique to her. It was formed by the combination of her refined blood essence and rich spiritual power. The Blazing Blood Lotus seal was quite mysterious. Even just one of it had consumed a lot of her spiritual power. In the past, she had always used it to reward the juniors of the Yuan clan who were related to her by blood so that they could save their lives. She had personally sealed a blazing blood lotus seal in Yu Yuan's body and used it to kill her grandson behind everyone's back. How much hatred did she have for him? "It wasn't Yu Yuan who killed my son, Huang Bin. It was you, the city lord, right?" Huang Chen couldn't stop trembling. He, who was closer to Yuan Lianyao, looked at his son's corpse with bloodshot eyes and heart. "What did my Huang clan do to offend you? Why did you go to such great lengths to kill my son with Yu Yuan's help?" This was the confusion of many people present. Everyone knew that the Huang clan's mortal enemy had always been the Yu clan. In Dark Moon City, the Huang clan had always been in awe of the Yuan clan and never provoked them. When Yuan Lianyao took charge of the Yuan clan and became the city lord of Dark Moon City, she had taken good care of the Huang clan. There seemed to be no fierce conflict between the two sides. But why? Why had Yuan Lianyao secretly sealed a blazing blood lotus seal in Yu Yuan's body and killed Huang Bin during the competition between the 3 realms? She had always been talking about rules. Wasn't this cheating? What's going on, big brother? Zhao Shi's eyes flashed. Because of the great change in front of him, he became excited. That woman from the Yuan family, is she crazy? Is she trying to start a bloody war between our 4 clans? Aye. Yukin gripped the armrest of her wheelchair tightly, so nervous that she couldn't even finish her sentence. Yu Hu, who didn't know the details, looked confused and worried. Why is everyone crazy today? She had only been told a few things by Yu Yuan, so she didn't know what would happen in the end. The young master is so cool. And Ziqing, who had come with him, clapped her hands and cheered excitedly, completely unaware of the seriousness of the situation. Huang Bin's clothes are so ugly. He deserves to be killed. He's courting death. Someone from the Huang clan shouted. Chapter 26. Bits of golden sand flew out of one of the Huang clan members' palms like a drizzle. And Ziqing looked up into the sky and cried out, her face filled with fear, "Help! Huang Tianyi!" Yukin gritted his teeth and bellowed, "Do you have no shame at all?" Yu Hu's expression flickered as he hastily wielded the black dragon scissors. Fzzz. Streaks of spiritual power flew out of the black dragon's scissors and wove into a net in midair. As soon as the bits of golden sand fell into the net, they melted like snow. On the Huang clan's side, a tall old man named Huang Tianyi slowly walked out with a grim face, holding a yellow leather pouch in his hand. He was here for the Yu clan. Huang Fan, the clanmaster of the Huang clan, was here to denounce Yuan Lianyao, the city governor, while his younger brother, Huang Tianyi, was here for the Yu clan. Both of them were at the profound break stage. Yu Yuan had already walked down from the high platform and stood silently beside Yu Wei. "What about the old man?" Yu Wei asked with a grim face. He was worried that Yu Kan, Yu Hu, and the others would suffer great losses. Yu Yuan smiled. "It'll be fine." Looking at his confident expression, Yu Wei, who didn't know the details, suddenly felt his hanging heart fall back to his chest. This nephew of his had been behaving strangely recently, which puzzled him greatly. However, he gradually felt that because of Yu Yuan's existence, he no longer needed to shoulder many of the clan's problems on his own. Yu Yuan was sharing his burden. Yu Kan, the old man, trembled with anger. "You're so arrogant. The ones who died are members of your clan, and you want to rebel? What if my grandson, Yu Yuan, dies?" Many people from the Yuan clan and the Zhao clan looked confused, as if they didn't understand what was going on. Was the Huang clan trying to provoke the Yuan clan, the overlord of Dark Moon City? Otherwise, why would they dare to do such a thing? "That's right," Huang Tianyi said, wreathed in a misty golden shield. "Since the ones who died are members of our clan, we can't." As soon as he moved, the other Huang clan members gathered on Golden Lotus Mountain also looked unfriendly. Is the Huang clan really planning to rebel? Just because Huang Bin died? After a short moment of shock, Li Feng's expression suddenly changed as he realized that the situation was not good. Old Fu? Yuan Fu was an elder of the Yuan family and had always been silent. After seeing Li Feng's pleading gaze, he narrowed his eyes and said slowly, "If the Huang family wants to die, then let them die. I want to see who in your Yu family can stop me." Huang Tianyi shouted. He, who was at the early stage of the breaking profound realm, had only been testing his strength earlier. Now that he was close to the breaking profound realm, no one in the Yu family would be able to contend against him. Even Yu Hu, who was at the late stage of the Golden Hall realm and wielded the black dragon scissors, could only hold on for a short while. "Let me try." All of a sudden, a towering figure flashed before the panicked Yu clan members like a rolling ball. "Zhao Dongxing." Huang Tianyi abruptly stopped. Looking at the fatty who had suddenly appeared, he angrily said, "What does the dispute between the Huang and Yu families have to do with your Zhao family?" Zhao Shi of the Zhao family turned his head and asked, "Girl, what is your father doing? What can he do?" "Of course he's helping the Yu family and Yu Yuan," Zhao Yafu said casually. Why? Zhao Shi's expression was strange. Could it be that Yu Yuan and Lin Zhuyun broke off their engagement and wanted to marry you? Uncle, you really can't say anything good. Zhao Yafu smiled sweetly. Big brother Yu and Lin Zhuyun's engagement hasn't been broken yet. Then, why should our Zhao family help the Yu family? Zhao Shi's gaze fell on the black dragon scissors in Yu Hu's hand and asked again, also, what's with that black dragon scissors? After Huang Tianyi made his move, Yuli took out the black dragon scissors. Zhao Shi naturally knew that the black dragon scissors were a spirit artifact. When he first arrived at the spirit treasure house, Yu Hu wanted to buy it, but because he was embarrassed and lacked financial resources, he was forced to put it aside. The black dragon scissors? Maybe it's a token of love from our Zhao family. Zhao Yafu stuck out her tongue and deliberately teased him. Zhao Shi scratched his head, even more confused. The Huang family broke the rules of Dark Moon City and intended to rebel. Everyone has the right to punish them. At this moment, the city lord indiscriminately put the blame on the Huang family. Huang Fan, what do you have to say for yourself? She called the current head of the Huang family, Huang Fan, who was of the same generation as her father, Yuan Qiufang, directly by name. Our Huang family broke the rules? Huang Fan was so angry that he laughed. The one who broke the rules is you, City Lord, right? Don't think that just because you're the City Lord of Dark Moon City, you can do whatever you want. Our Huang family may be weak, but we will never be humiliated like this. So I humiliated you and the Huang family. What can you do about it? Yuan Lianyao couldn't be bothered to deal with him, so she directly shed all pretense of cordiality. From now on, I don't need to represent Dark Moon City. I will represent the head of the Yuan family and exterminate your Huang family today. Count the Zhao family in. The short Zhao Zhenghao, who was sitting among the Zhao family's crowd, suddenly interjected at the most critical moment. Sons of the Zhao family, get ready to start with the Huang family. Upon hearing his words, all of the Zhao family members who had come to Golden Lotus Mountain rose to their feet. Many Zhao family members didn't know the truth, and felt that the situation in front of them was indescribably strange. However, he was the current head of the Zhao family, and the father of Zhao Dongxing and Zhao Shi. The prestige he had built up over the years made it so that the Zhao family members didn't need to know the reason. They only needed to know his attitude. Zhao Shi was taken aback. Old man, what are you doing? The Huang family is going to be removed from Dark Moon City, Zhao Zhenghao said indifferently. On the Yu clan's side, Yu Can, who was originally nervous, relaxed when she saw Zhao Dongxing's sudden appearance, the Zhao clan's patriarch's words, and Yuan Lianyao's aggressive attitude. How did the Huang family offend the Yuan family and the Zhao family? Yu Can couldn't figure it out. Upon seeing this sight, the members of the Huang clan, who had been standing around aggressively a moment ago, suddenly calmed down. Many Huang family members looked at Huang Fan and Huang Tianyi with confused looks in their eyes. What should we do? Huang Tianyi, who had been planning to make a move against the Yu family, also felt a headache coming on when Zhao Dongxing and the Zhao family suddenly intervened. Looking up into the sky, he said, "It's not time yet. The first battle of the Meridian opening stage has just ended. City Master, I want to know what's going on." Huang Fan became even more irritable. However, when he saw that the situation wasn't good and that the sky hadn't changed, he also became very anxious. What did our Huang family do wrong that the Yuan family and the Zhao family have to work together to remove us from Dark Moon City? Yuan Lianyao opened her mouth to speak. Don't give them too much time to waste, City Master. Yu Yuan's voice suddenly echoed out. It's daytime now. Many things will be difficult when night falls. Huang Fan, Huang Qin, and Huang Tianyi's vicious gazes instantly landed on Yu Yuan's face. You're courting death, brat. Huang Qin, who was the closest to them, didn't waste any more time. he turned into a streak of golden lightning and shot over. Huang Fan didn't say a word. He suddenly stared at Yuan Lianyao. Yu Yuan's words made the 3 core members of the Huang family realize that their secret plan with the blood god had probably been exposed. Since things had come to this point, they no longer hesitated and took action. Boom! Boom boom boom! Almost at the same time, the entire Golden Lotus Mountain shook. There were many caves halfway up the mountain that spewed out terrifying blood-colored pillars of light. The blood-colored pillars of light sprayed into the gloomy sky like bright red dye, causing the sky to turn crimson and make people feel uncomfortable. In the valley, the meridian opening experts with low cultivation bases felt that they had to breathe much harder than usual. The Huang family colluded with outsiders to massacre Dark Moon City. They deserve 10,000 deaths. Yuan Lianyao looked up at the sky and took a deep breath. She finally confirmed that Yu Yuan's judgment wasn't wrong. She no longer harbored any illusions about the Huang family. Bright red lotus flowers bloomed under her feet, dazzling and eye-catching. Crack crack! Pieces of golden lotus rock burst out of the ground as Huang Qin moved. The shimmering golden stone flew toward Yu Yuan like a cannonball. However, more rocks suddenly let out ear-piercing screeches. Bang! The golden lotus rock in the air suddenly exploded. Drops of blood flew towards Yuan Lianyao as if they had eyes. The drops of blood were translucent and sparkling like red agates, and contained terrifying spirit power. Yu Yuan! Yue exclaimed softly as he landed in front of Nie Tian. Spirit power surged from his body and shattered the golden lotus rock that was flying towards him. Huang Chen's target isn't me, Yu Yuan said with a calm expression. His attack on me is just a cover. He and Huang Fan, the head of the Huang family, are working together to kill the city lord. Chapter 27. The city lord, Yuan Lianyao, was the Huang clan's main target. She was also the only subtle realm expert in Dark Moon City that the Huang clan knew of. She had the highest cultivation base, the real power in her hands, and could influence the decisions of the Zhao and Yu clans. She was the one who had given Yu Yuan the blazing blood lotus seal to kill Huang Bin. Naturally, she had to die first. Yu Yuan was only at the meridian opening stage. Once the situation was settled, wouldn't he be easy to deal with? They don't care about me at all. Looking at the oncoming golden lotus rock exploding under Yue's attack, Yu Yuan smiled faintly and said, "Uncle, at this time, the Yu clan will be relatively safe. The Yuan clan and the Zhao clan are the ones the Huang clan wants to eliminate first. We are still too weak." Huang Fan, the head of the Huang clan, was at the middle stage of the breaking profound realm. His younger brother, Huang Tianyi, was at the early stage of the breaking profound realm. Huang Qin, the second generation of the Huang clan, was also at the early stage of the breaking profound realm at a young age, almost catching up to his father, Huang Fan. The Huang clan had 3 breaking profound realm experts. With such strength, they naturally wouldn't take the Yu clan seriously. Of course, there was a reason why they had suppressed the Yu clan all these years. Yue pulled him away from the high platform where Yuan Lianyao was. Only when he saw that Huang Fan and Huang Qin were indeed ignoring them did he agree with him. Yue then looked at the Yu clan, and found that the Huang clan members led by Huang Tianyi were surrounded by people led by Zhao Dongxing and Yuan Fu. The Huang clan no longer had the energy to make trouble for the Yu clan. The Huang clan suddenly rose in power in the last 10 years or so, Yue said with a grim expression. Huang Tianyi and Huang Qin both entered the breaking profound realm during this time. Huang Fan also entered the middle stage of the breaking profound realm from the early stage during this time. All of this happened after the old man's legs were broken and his cultivation base dropped. Yu Yuan went blank for a moment before suddenly asking, "Is it said that the Huang clan hired an outsider to break grandfather's legs?" Yue nodded. The old man was at the early stage of the breaking profound realm, the same as Huang Fan. At that time, the Yu clan was stronger than the Huang clan. At the same level, the old man should be slightly stronger than Huang Fan. If the Huang family hadn't invited an outsider to launch a sneak attack on the old master, would the old master have fallen into such a state? Understood. Yu Yuan's eyes turned cold. It should be the blood god. I didn't expect the Huang family to be bewitched by the blood god 10 years ago. Blood god? Yue was shocked. The northern part of the tranquil continent, the legendary blood god. Yu Yuan nodded slightly. The blood drained from Yue's face. Phew! Hoo! 9 bright red lotuses flew out from under Yuan Lianyao's feet and circled above her head. Drops of blood that looked like red agates sputtered out of the shattered golden nectar. As they fell towards Yuan Lianyao, they were mercilessly crushed by the 9 scarlet lotus flowers. Bang! The blood beads then turned into a thin scarlet blood mist. The scarlet blood mist floated down like a curtain. It was supposed to be daytime, but the sky above the valley was filled with scarlet blood. A terrifying and bloody aura descended from the sky and enveloped everyone in the valley. The blood sacrifice formation. Yu Yuan's expression turned grave as his eyebrows furrowed. Something's not right. That old man from the Red Devil School must have destroyed the other formations under the City Lord's orders. It's still daytime, so there's no way that the blood sacrifice formation can still be used. City Lord. Huang Chen laughed loudly. You didn't expect this, did you? Don't think that you can do whatever you want in Dark Moon City just because you're in the subtle realm. As soon as he spoke, Yu Yuan's gaze was naturally drawn to him. He noticed that the scarlet blood mist that was falling towards Yuan Lianyao was rapidly becoming thicker and thicker. When he looked again, it was as thick as blood. What was even more surprising was that the 9 scarlet lotus flowers under Yuan Lianyao's control were swaying as if they couldn't be controlled. A pained expression appeared on Yuan Lianyao's charming and beautiful face as she repeatedly looked towards the profound gate in her chest. The blood sacrifice formation works with the blood boiling mist. Even if you're in the subtle realm, what can you do? The skinny Huang Fan sat on the platform where Huang Bin's corpse was as he waved his hands in the air. Crack! Following his movements, the ground in the valley was torn apart by streaks of golden light, and pieces of golden necropolis were brought out. The golden necropolis buried underground exploded in midair, and more blood beads turned into a blood mist and flew toward Yuan Lianyao. The Huang family had spent a lot of manpower to mine these golden nectar, but they were all buried deep underground with strange blood beads sealed within them. From the looks of it, the Huang family had been preparing for this day for many years. The blood sacrifice formation greatly amplifies the blood boiling mist. It's indeed a good move. Yu Yuan also sighed deeply as he explained to his big uncle, "If I'm not mistaken, our subtle realm city lord's blood essence has already gone berserk, and he's even using his 8 meridians to attack his internal organs." Yue was shocked. The profound gate in her middle dantian has gone out of control, and her internal organs have been severely damaged. She probably won't be able to fight anymore. The subtle realm Yuan Lianyao was the strongest expert in Anhua City, a level higher than anyone else. She had been the backbone of the Huang clan. If something happened to her, the morale of the Yuan family, Zhao family, and Yu family would plummet. The cultivators of the 3 families would think that if even she couldn't fight back, how could anyone beat the Huang family, who had colluded with outsiders? Not to mention, the outsider who ordered the Huang family to do this hadn't shown himself yet. Big brother Yu, Zhao Yafu of the Zhao family, accompanied by Zhao Shi, left the group and suddenly came to Yu Yuan and Yue's side. Yu Yuan, I'm here to protect you on Elder Fu's orders. The leader of the guards, Li Feng, also reluctantly walked out from the Yuan family's side. Almost at the same time as Zhao Shi and Zhao Yafu, they went towards Yu Yuan. Zhao Shi scratched his head. Until now, he still didn't understand why his father, Zhao Zhenghao, had told him to bring Zhao Yafu and Yu Yuan along. Zhao Shi, who was in the late stage of the Golden Hall realm, Yu Wei and Li Feng, who were in the middle stage of the Golden Hall realm, all gathered around Yu Yuan. Elder Fu said that Li Feng felt wronged and said in a low voice, "He told me to listen to your orders during this period of time. Damn it, I'm the guard captain of US City. If I listen to your orders, doesn't that mean that all the guards in the city have to listen to you?" His voice was very low when he said the last sentence. However, Zhao Shi, Yu Wei, and the others still heard it clearly. Moreover, after he said this, as if in response to him, Yuan Fu of the Yuan family waved his hand and arranged for the rest of the guards to leave the Yuan family's team and rush over. The guards of US City and the members of the Yuan family were actually in two different camps. However, both camps were under Yuan Lianyao's control. This, Zhao Shi's expression was stunned. He thought to himself, what ability does this Yu Yuan have to make Yuan Fu trust him so much? He wanted Li Feng and the guards in the city to listen to him? Lotus burn. At this moment, the city lord, whose face was filled with pain, suddenly shouted softly. In that moment, the 9 brightly colored lotuses that were on the verge of collapse seemed to be infused with new spiritual power. The 9 lotus flowers suddenly emitted a divine light and burned quietly. They were like 9 bright red lanterns. The pained expression on Yuan Lianyao's face disappeared in an instant. Instead, it was replaced by a cunning and vicious smile, as if his scheme had succeeded. Huang Fan, who was sitting opposite her and circulating his spiritual energy to guide the golden Luo into the sky, suddenly shuddered when he saw the familiar smile on her face. Your Xian sect actually didn't go out of control. How is this possible? Huang Chen was scared out of his wits. Blood-boiling mist, plus the blood sacrifice array, how could she be spared? Go. Yuan Lianyao stood on the high platform, twisted her waist, and danced lightly. 2 red lotuses with divine flames, like burning fireballs, collided with Huang Fan and Huang Chen. Boom! Boom! Huang Fan and Huang Chen, father and son, spat out blood, were sent flying more than 10 meters away. With just this blow, the father and son were already severely injured. You're just a mere breaking profound realm cultivator, how dare you boast shamelessly in front of me? Yuan Lianyao chuckled as she looked at Yu Yuan from afar with an admiring gaze and said, "Don't think that you can stop me and make the profound gate lose control with the help of the Blood God sect." Yu Wei said blankly, "Yu Yuan, didn't you say that, if there were no accidents, the city lord Xian sect would have already lost control and rioted?" Zhao Shi, Zhao Yafu, and Li Feng also looked at him with strange expressions. They all noticed the way Yuan Lianyao looked at him. That gaze clearly said that her ability to not be affected by the blood-boiling mist and the blood sacrifice array had a lot to do with Yu Yuan. What a coincidence, an accident happened. Yu Yuan's expression was calm as he pointed at his nose and said, "I am that accident." Chapter 28. On the high platform, Yuan Lianyao's graceful figure caused many red lotuses to dance. Crack! The red lotuses turned the golden stones into dust and scattered all over the sky. Although the so-called blood-boiling mist drowned her, it did not affect her. She suddenly turned into a ray of light and flew out of the range of the blood-boiling mist, landing on the stone ground in front of Huang Fan and Huang Chen. She smiled coldly and said, "What benefits did the Blood God promise you? What can your Huang family get by sacrificing Dark Moon City's cultivators and mortals?" Blood God? The Huang family colluded with the Blood God. Is the Huang family crazy? The expressions of Zhao Shi, Li Feng, and the other guards gradually changed. At first, they did not react when Yuan Lianyao and Yu Yuan said the Blood God. In the northern part of the tranquil continent, the Devil's Palace and the Goblin Temple were even stronger. The Red Devil School and the Blood God were relatively weaker. Moreover, they had never been active in Dark Moon City before, so they did not immediately connect the dots. But as Yuan Lianyao repeated it again and again, they naturally realized and confirmed it. The Huang family was colluding with the Blood God. They finally understood why the city governor, Yuan Lianyao, had repeatedly broken the rules and targeted the Huang clan in order to force them to their deaths. It turned out that the city lord had long known that the Huang family and the Blood God were colluding. The so-called outsider was the infamous sect of the Blood God. You knew? Zhao Shi looked suspiciously at Yu Yuan, who was calm and composed. Then, she suddenly looked at Zhao Yafu and said, "You also know about it." Yu Yuan and Zhao Yafu looked at each other and nodded at the same time. Li Feng's eyebrows suddenly twitched, his eyes filled with surprise. He thought of something else. A few days ago, in the villages around Yu Town, Yu Yuan and Ning Ji appeared and told him clearly that a great disaster was about to befall Dark Moon City. At that time, he even said that Yu Yuan was being an alarmist. The next day, Yu Yuan insisted on going to the city lord's mansion to visit Yuan Lianyao. After being rejected by him, he even did not hesitate to let Ning Ji challenge him. In the end, the commotion was so great that it alarmed Yuan Lianyao. Could it be? Gradually, Li Feng sorted out the key to the matter. Yu Yuan was the first to discover that the Huang family and the Blood God were plotting against each other. How did this kid see through everything? When he looked at Yu Yuan again, Li Feng's expression changed. "Sister, let's cut the crap," Yu Yuan reminded her again in a neutral tone. "There are some hidden dangers that need to be dealt with as soon as possible. The truth is not as important as the solution to the problem." After landing on the ground, Huang Fan and Huang Chen, who were bleeding profusely, glared at Zhang Xian viciously upon hearing his words. Yu Yuan shrugged. "What are you looking at? They're going to die soon anyway." "That's right. 2 dead people won't pose a threat to you in the future." Yuan Lianyao pursed her lips and smiled. Because of his reminder, she dispelled the idea of interrogating Huang Fan and Huang Chen for details. In order to prevent any accidents from happening, she would kill them first. Whoosh! One after another, the remaining blood-blazing lotuses that were guarding her flew towards Huang Fan and Huang Chen. Every lotus was burning with bright red flames and contained an incomparably terrifying power. "Even if it's a servant who serves my Blood God, you can't touch him." Suddenly, a sharp and strange howl seemed to tear everyone's eardrums apart. The howl caused many people with low cultivation levels to have no choice but to cover their heads and ears. Boom! In the collapsed cave of Jinluo Mountain, huge rocks flew everywhere. Dried corpses that had been drained of their blood were also thrown out by the tremors. The crimson sky was like a thick blood cloud that suddenly pressed down. The mist of boiling blood that Yuan Lianyao had escaped from strangely condensed into a sticky blood-colored ribbon. With a ripping sound, the blood-colored ribbon appeared between Yuan Lianyao, Huang Fan, and Huang Chen. Then, like a long whip, the blood-colored ribbon was grabbed by an invisible person and started whipping the blazing blood-red lotuses. The blazing blood-red lotuses were whipped directly by the blood-colored ribbon. Sparks flew everywhere, and they could no longer pose a threat to Huang Fan and Huang Chen. Huang Fan slowly rose to his feet and wiped the blood at the corner of his mouth with his sleeve. His golden eyes fell cruelly on Yuan Lianyao, Yu Yuan, and the others. Yu Yuan smiled bitterly and said, "The blood sacrifice spell formation shouldn't have been activated. If the old man from the Red Devil School had followed his instructions and destroyed the hubs hidden in the 4 corners of Dark Moon City, the blood sacrifice spell formation that the Blood God had painstakingly set up wouldn't have been activated. Without the blood sacrifice spell formation, that disciple of the Blood God who wanted to condense a nether soul would never have succeeded." The blood-colored ribbon hit the blazing blood-red lotuses controlled by Yuan Lianyao and suddenly changed directions. Shoo! Like a blood-colored rainbow, It shot towards the Yuan family and Zhao family members that were besieging Huang Tianyi. Puff, puff, puff. Numerous Yuan family and Zhao family members were pierced through by the blood-colored light as if they were made of paper. Even the leader of the Yuan family, the old man named Yuan Fu, had his abdomen pierced by the blood-colored ribbon and died on the spot. What was strange was that the blood of the deceased was sucked dry in a very short period of time and fused with the blood-colored ribbon, making it even whiter and more scarlet. Good job! Huang Tianyi, who had been injured by Yuan Fu and Zhao Dongxing's joint attacks earlier, said with a crazed and bloodthirsty look on his face, "Let's work together with Lord Emissary and destroy the Yuan family and the Zhao family." Boom! As the blood-colored ribbon shot towards Zhao Dongxing, it slammed into a bronze mirror. Dragon scales could be seen on the surface of the copper mirror. It was as if a violent flood dragon was giving the copper mirror power, allowing Zhao Dongxing, who was as fat as a mountain, to escape a calamity. A clear cry of surprise came from the blood-colored ribbon. "Someone's controlling that blood-colored ribbon, but we can't see it," one of the Dark Moon City guards said after hearing the exclamation. "A nether soul?" Yuan Lianyao's face turned pale. "A nether soul." Yu Yuan sighed inwardly and said, "If it's not a nether soul, how can it be so arrogant?" A nether soul that had evolved from an earth soul couldn't be seen with the naked eye. Only cultivators like Yuan Lianyao, who had reached the subtle realm, could sense its existence with their spiritual sense. Cultivators below the subtle realm couldn't sense the profound breaking, golden hall, spirit accumulating, and meridian opening realms. A nether soul like that could travel around the golden silk mountain without leaving a trace. It was practically invincible. In the entire Dark Moon City, the only one who could threaten the blood god's nether soul was probably the old man from the Red Devil School who was tortured by the fire poison. However, Yuan Qiufang was nowhere to be found. If it wasn't for the problem on his side, the blood sacrifice array wouldn't have been activated. Wait! Yu Yuan suddenly realized something and exclaimed, "The blood god's nether soul hasn't been fully refined yet. The blood sacrifice array has been activated, but it still needs a lot of blood to refine it. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense." Yuan Lianyao became a little excited when she heard that. "You're saying that the nether soul is still in the process of forming?" "That's right. He's still using the blood sacrifice array to refine his nether soul." Yu Yuan took a deep breath and continued, "A nether soul that hasn't formed yet has many weaknesses. You should know that the one you're hiding failed to refine his nether soul. That's why he fell in cultivation and suffered chi deviation." Yuan Lianyao's eyes suddenly lit up. She had learned from her father that the refining of a nether soul was extremely dangerous. The slightest mistake could cause one's soul to scatter. The so-called emissary of the blood god, who was currently running amok in the valley, should be at this critical juncture. If this emissary had used the normal way, he would have activated the blood sacrifice array at night after the competition between the three realms had ended. Then, he would have gone to refine his nether soul. But now, because his and the Huang family's scheme had been exposed and the Huang family was about to be wiped out, it would affect his future plans. Therefore, he had no choice but to activate it earlier. In other words, his nether soul hadn't been successfully refined yet. It's a bit risky for a nether soul that hasn't been successfully refined to come out and do evil so early. Yu Yuan's malicious gaze swam around the blood-colored ribbon. "As far as I know, there are still some methods that can severely injure or even destroy you at this time." The blood-colored ribbon suddenly flew away from Zhao Dongxing and shot towards Yu Yuan. "Kid, you really have a lot of nonsense to say." The cold and emotionless voice of the emissary of the blood god rang out. Chapter 29. Yu Yuan, Zhao Shi, Li Feng, Protect Yu Yuan. Yuan Lien Yao and Zhao Jinghao exclaimed at the same time with anxious expressions on their faces. At this moment, everyone could see that the messenger of the blood god, who wanted to become a Yin god, saw Yu Yuan as the biggest threat because of his words. At this moment, Yuan Lianyao was in a weak state because the lotus flowers she cultivated with her life were scattered by the blood-colored ribbon. At this moment, Yuan Lianyao was no longer able to gather her strength and lend Yu Yuan a helping hand. Zhao Zhenghao had been busy saving the Zhao family and his son, Zhao Dongxing, and was too far away from Yu Yuan. As for the formless Yin deity, it pulled on the blood-red ribbon and moved as fast as lightning. You talk too much. Zhao Yafa rolled her eyes at Yu Yuan, then grabbed his arm and dragged him back. Thump thump thump. Yu Yuan was pulled back by her uncontrollably. The strength that came from her small hands was extremely domineering, and even surprised Yu Yuan. She thought to herself, the baby dragon's soul essence has been nourished in her body for a long time. Unknowingly, it has strengthened her fleshly body to such an extent. He had a new understanding of Zhao Yafa's body condition. Seeing that danger was coming, Zhao Shi, Yu Wei, Li Feng, and the many guards of Anhua City turned into walls of flesh and blood to block the front. Dazzling spiritual power shields burst forth from their bodies and spiritual tools one after another. Yu Yuan looked over with rapt attention and discovered that many blue, silver, and green spiritual power shields had risen into the air and formed a protective shield in front of everyone. They were all in a defensive posture. It was obvious. Facing the Yin god that had not yet formed, Zhao Shi and the others knew that they could not fight back. They only wanted to stop it as much as possible so that Yuan Lianyao could free up and let Zhao Jinghao arrive in time. Even the subtle realm Yuan Lianyao had been instantly defeated by the Yin god controlling the blood-colored ribbon. Even if they could block him for a moment, how great of a price would they have to pay? My grandfather is on his way. Zhao Yafa's small hand tightly gripped Yu Yuan's arm. Because she used too much strength, Yu Yuan couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Little sister Zhao, don't be too nervous. Can you calm down a little? Yu Yuan grimaced and gently patted the back of her hand with his other hand to calm her down. He said, I'm only in the meridian opening realm. My spirit energy can't circulate through my flesh and meridians yet. Your physique is too strong, and your subconscious exertion of strength is already torture for me. When he said this, Zhao Yafu immediately understood. Don't you know fear? Zhao Yafu released her grip and stared into his eyes. She didn't see any fear in his eyes. That Yin master wanted to kill you. Why aren't you afraid? Yu Yuan rolled up his sleeves and looked at his arm with 5 obvious red fingerprints. If you don't let go, I'm worried that I'll be killed by you first. With that, he looked at the bloody ribbon that was flying like a rainbow and narrowed his eyes. As for him, it's not that easy to kill me. Brother Yu, you don't have a reason to be arrogant. However, you're quite charming. Zhao Yafu felt inexplicably relieved. Then, she added, if you can really survive and not die, you'll be even more charming. At this moment, several guards of Anhua City, who were facing the invisible Yin god, were pierced through by the ribbon. It was as if they had been pierced by a blood spear. The spirit energy around the guards exploded like bubbles, and their bodies fell limply to the ground. Li Feng's eyes were red as he shouted coldly, Blood God! The flying ribbons slowed down on the corpses for a moment. Everyone noticed that the corpses of the Anhua City guards instantly shriveled up. Blood fused into the blood-colored ribbon. You? Zhao Yafu stared at Yu Yuan and realized that this mysterious youth, who her father was thinking about and said might help her devour the dragon, had an indifferent expression and his gaze did not change. It was as if his heart did not waver because of the deaths of the Anhua City guards who were protecting him. What a cold-blooded and heartless bastard! She cursed inwardly. It seems that my judgment was correct. Yu Yuan sneered. At this critical moment of killing me, you actually didn't forget to draw the blood of those guards. If it was the blood god who had truly condensed a Een god, there would be no need for this. After a pause, he said again, since that's the case, what? Zhao Yafu asked anxiously. The invisible blood god Een god, who was controlling the blood-colored ribbon, was clearly drinking blood, and was about to do evil again. Further away, old Master Yu was about to crush the armrest of the wooden chair with both hands. Uncle, don't be nervous. That brat is not afraid at all. He should have something to rely on. Yu Hu persuaded as her bright eyes stared at Yu Yuan without blinking. She thought to herself, nothing must happen. Don't. In her heart, her nephew, who had truly awakened, had already become the pillar of the Yu family. She really hoped that Yu Yuan could grow up quickly, take charge of himself, and revive the weak Yu family's prestige. How could it be that the glimmer of hope that she had just seen was short-lived? Don't die, she prayed in her heart. Yu Yuan suddenly shouted, Brother Li. Li Feng, who was tense, shuddered and subconsciously shouted in response, I'm here. Watch carefully. Clumps of grayish-brown sand were lifted from Yu Yuan's sleeves and scattered above everyone's heads. Look at the movement of the manifest deity dust and lock onto the position of that Een deity. Then, please attack with all your strength. The grayish-brown sand was blown away by the wind. The flying sand and dust, like a curtain, suddenly covered an invisible shadow. That shadow seemed to be wearing a grayish-brown sand dress, and it instantly appeared from an invisible state. The manifest god dust was specially condensed by Yu Yuan with Yuan Lianyao's help. It was aimed at the invisible Een god. This sand had no offensive effect. Its only use was to show the Een god's movements and lock onto its position. Li Feng, use the power of frost and thunder. Yuan Lianyao's eyes suddenly lit up. Quick! Chi. Beams of silver lightning shot out from Li Feng's short spear. In the depths of the lightning, one could vaguely see small ice crystals that contained the weak power of thunder. The frost and thunder technique was the technique that Li Feng had cultivated for many years. The low-level frost and thunder technique had both the power of frost and thunder. However, because the level of the spirit art was low, it could only gather a trace of the power of thunder. However, even if it was a trace, it was still the power of thunder, and the power of thunder was precisely the fatal nemesis of this kind of pure spirit form that had left its flesh and blood body. Manifest God Dust. How can you have the manifest God Dust? Who exactly are you? It was as if the messenger of the blood god, who was wearing a grayish-brown robe, suddenly let out a sharp howl. The howl was filled with fear and uneasiness. He stopped at the blood-colored ribbon and was using all his strength to use his spiritual sense to affect the ribbon and absorb the essence of the blood within. He never would have thought that he would appear because of the manifest god dust. After appearing, the illusory Een god was also not afraid of many attacks. However, the power of thunder was something that all the spirits in the world feared. Furthermore, he was only a Een god that had yet to successfully condense. Before he could react, numerous silver lightning bolts shot towards him. The small power of thunder in the frost and thunder silver lightning was like strong sulfuric acid to him. A mournful and painful scream came from the grayish-brown clothes. Everyone noticed that the so-called Een god of the blood god, which was wrapped by the manifest god dust, was easily penetrated by Li Feng's frost and thunder silver lightning. It was as if a person's body had been chiseled open with fist-sized holes. If it's really a condensed Een god, I can quickly avoid it with a thought. The corner of Yu Yuan's mouth was full of mockery. It's a pity that it's a half-finished product. It's only been formed not long ago and can only leave its flesh and blood. It's still not familiar with the form of a pure spirit. Do you think you can kill everyone just by relying on the formlessness of the Een god? You, who are you? The illusory soul body of the blood god's disciple suddenly turned into pieces and scattered in all directions. Not a single piece dared to approach Yu Yuan. Or rather, he didn't dare to approach Li Feng, who cultivated the frost thunder technique, and could determine his location through the manifest god dust. This person's half-baked Yin god has been severely injured. Yu Yuan smiled and said to Li Feng, I'll have to trouble Big Brother Li to keep an eye on the pieces of Yin god fragments. As long as all the fragments are crushed one by one, this senior of the blood god will be completely dead. All right. Li Feng held the silver short spear and whistled away. Yuan Lianyao took advantage of this period of time to recover. Not far away, Zhao Zhenghao, Yu Can, and the others saw that the situation was changing rapidly. Yu Yuan had already escaped, and the emissary of the blood god was scattering in all directions in a sorry state. They all felt that it was unreal. A Yin god of the blood god was going to be destroyed under Yu Yuan's arrangements? Chapter 30. A newly born Yin soul was actually quite weak. Normally speaking, when the Earth soul had just become a Yin soul, it shouldn't leave the main body. Only after reaching the soul wandering realm could the Yin soul be separated from the main body and wander thousands of miles away. The reason why the messenger of the blood god dared to release the Yin soul was because of the blood sacrifice formation. Otherwise, he wouldn't have dared to act so recklessly. With the blood sacrifice formation covering the sky, he dared to release the Yin soul and cause chaos in the valley. The blood-colored ribbon formed from the blood-boiling mist was also the nourishment for his newly born Yin soul. He absorbed the essence of blood from it to help his Yin soul have the ability to move for a long time. If it wasn't for the god manifestation dust, his formless Yin soul would have been able to move freely in the valley. This was because Yuan Lianyao had already been heavily injured by him. Apart from Yuan Lianyao, who had reached the subtle realm and could roughly sense his location with her spiritual sense, no one else could. Unfortunately, no matter how much he thought about it, he didn't expect Yu Yuan to be such a freak. Yu Yuan, who had already sensed it, started to plan in secret after discussing it with Yuan Lianyao. Yu Yuan was extremely familiar with the blood god and the so-called Yin soul. The materials needed to make the god manifestation dust were actually very common and easy to make. The only difficult part was the secret technique. The so-called secret method, to him in his previous life, was just a minor skill in the path of alchemy. Before he had become a truly outstanding alchemist, he had already understood and was incomparably familiar with unorthodox items like the manifest deity dust. Big Brother Yu, can Li Feng really kill the blood god's Yin soul? Zhao Yafu asked curiously. Standing beside Yu Yuan, the light of admiration shone in the depths of her eyes. Gradually, she started to have confidence in Yu Yuan. She suddenly had a feeling that the dragon-devouring plan that the Zhao clan had been carrying out, which had been riddled with difficulties, might actually succeed because of Yu Yuan. If she could completely refine the soul of the young dragon buried deep in her body, she would benefit from it for the rest of her life. Xiao Yuan, if that Yin god is really dead, Xiao Yuan said. Yu Wei, who was standing guard beside him, frowned and said worriedly, the blood god definitely won't let this go. Blood god. Zhao Shi felt the pressure as well. Whether or not the blood god will pursue this matter is a matter for the future. After standing for more than half a day, Yu Yuan felt tired. He moved to a broken rock and sat down. Only then did he say, if we can't get through this obstacle, we won't have to wait for the blood god's future. We'll all die right now. Even the blood god can't start a massacre in our Silver Moon Empire. Yuan Lianyao snorted. Sister City Lord, are you all right? With a fawning expression, Yu Yuan beckoned her over. Come, if you're not feeling well, I'll take a look at you. Yuan Lianyao lowered her head and glanced at her towering chest. My chest feels a little stuffy. Ahem, Do you still have any melon seeds? Make some for me to eat. Yu Yuan changed the topic and reached out to her in all seriousness. Zhao Shi widened his eyes and looked at Yu Yuan and then at Yuan Lianyao, as if he had seen a ghost in broad daylight. Yue was calm and composed. His gaze followed Li Feng as if he didn't hear the conversation between his nephew and the city lord at all. Zhao Yafa chuckled softly and cursed in her heart, "Surnamed Yuan, you're really coquettish and shameless. As the city lord, you actually dared to tease my big brother Yu in public." "Yes. I'll give it to you." She stuffed an exquisite white handbag into Yu Yuan's open palm. "Big brother Yu, there's a lot of delicious food inside. Take your time to eat." She even winked at Yu Yuan. "Then continue watching the show." Yuan Lianyao smiled and put the handful of melon seeds back into her plump waist. "Since the outcome has been decided, I'll take care of the Huang family first." The 9 red lotuses floated out again. Yuan Lianyao rose into the air. Red lotuses whistled and surrounded her, making her look like a red god as she walked towards Huang Chen, whose chest was stained with blood. Dozens of meters away, she said softly, "Lock." Huang Chen, who was burly and muscular, suddenly realized that there was a strange force growing under his armpits and tightening around him like a steel wire. Huang Chen's expression changed. It was only at this moment that he suddenly realized that when he was hit by a lotus earlier, there was Yuan Lianyao's spiritual power hiding in his body without him knowing. It was only waiting for the critical moment to suddenly erupt. And he was completely unaware. "Father, please take care of yourself." Seeing a red lotus crash towards him like a berserk chariot, he could not move and only had time to roar. The red lotus hit Huang Chen's chest. Just like his son, Huang Bin, Huang Chen's sternum and internal organs were blown to pieces by the lotus flower that was neither real nor illusory. Yuan Lianyao, who was whistling through the air, still had an enchanting smile on her charming face that could make one's heart drunk. Furthermore, she flew over Huang Chen's head. She didn't even look down at Huang Chen. It was as if, in her heart, this second-generation leader of the Huang family was just an insignificant person who was not worth mentioning. He was just like an ant. Zhao Yafa bit her lower lip and whispered, "Vicious woman." Whoosh, whoosh. Pieces of Yin deity shards covered in manifest god dust floated in the air like grayish-brown rags. One of them suddenly fell towards Yu Kan and Yu Hu. How dare a broken and incomplete Yin deity act so presumptuously on my side? Yu Li's fighting spirit soared as he held the black dragon scissors in his hand and was about to cut open the shard. Everyone could see that under Li Feng's frost thunder incantation, the illusory Yin deity had been severely injured. He had even abandoned the blood-colored ribbon that he had controlled previously. Now, he could only dodge. The illusory Yin deity that had left his body had originally used the power of the blood-colored ribbon to hurt and kill people, but now that there was nothing left, what could he do with the remaining soul power of the Yin deity? Whoosh! Surprisingly, one of the Yin deity shards landed on the head of the purple-clothed servant, Ziqing. It was as if a dim light had poured into her head. "Ziqing!" Yu Hu's expression suddenly changed. He couldn't help but scream and run over immediately. Whoosh! Whoosh whoosh! The remaining Yin deity shards of the blood god emissary that were still being chased by Li Feng suddenly sped up and flew towards Ziqing like streaks of gray light. Li Feng couldn't catch up at all. After killing Huang Chen, Yuan Lianyao, who had targeted the head of the Huang family, Huang Fan, as her next target, stopped in the air. 2 lotus flowers flew to the bottom of her feet and gently lifted her up. She turned around and looked at Yu Yuan with an inquiring gaze. Yu Yuan's eyes were fixed on Ziqing. He seemed to be deep in thought and didn't say anything. Huang Fan, who had dodged a calamity, couldn't care less about anything else and ran for his life in the valley. As he ran, chunks of golden necropolis that were buried in the ground split open and flew out to intercept the Zhao clan and Yuan clan's attackers on his way. Hide in the cave of the Golden Lotus Mountain. Huang Fan shouted. Brother Yu, what's going on? Zhao Yafu was very surprised. Was your servant temporarily possessed by the Yin deity of the blood god? Yu Yuan, who was deep in thought, didn't respond. Strange. Zhao Shi frowned. After being severely injured, shouldn't the Yin deity let the invisible soul return to the physical body immediately? He looked at the Golden Lotus Mountain and the cave. The main body of that blood god emissary should be somewhere in the belly of the mountain. Yu Yuan, I'm sorry. I might not be able to take care of your servant's life. Yuan Lianyao hesitated for a few seconds before suddenly making a decision. The body possessed is a mortal body and doesn't even know how to cultivate. After his body dies and his soul is destroyed, he naturally has to leave. When he comes out again, he will definitely die if he attacks with frost and lightning. With that, she shot Li Feng a look. Li Feng nodded slightly to show that he understood. Her attitude was very clear. She would kill An Ziqing and cause her body and soul to die instantly. At the moment of death, the blood god emissary who had possessed her could only leave his soul again. The moment the Yin deity left his body, Li Feng would attack it with frost and lightning. He was bound to destroy the Yin deity that had been severely injured repeatedly. Stop! Yu Yuan suddenly stood up. Then, under everyone's gaze, he dashed towards An Ziqing. Yu Yuan, she's just a little girl. What's there to be reluctant about? Yuan Lianyao frowned. Don't worry. After I kill her, you can choose any maidservant of my Yuan family. P.S. If you like it, remember to collect it and recommend it. Thank you. Chapter 31. In the Valley. Huang Fan didn't care about anything. He led his clansmen straight into Golden Coral Mountain. At this moment, everyone's attention was on the blood god's Yin god, on An Ziqing. As for the Huang family's movements, no one cared about them for now. Huang Qin was dead, and many of the Huang family's clansmen had been killed. The Huang family, whose strength had been sharply reduced, had even more clansmen in Dark Moon City. As long as the Yin god was taken care of and the blood god's hidden danger was resolved, what could the Huang family do? Ziqing, Yuli called softly, but pushed the wheelchair and took Old Master Yuken away. She had clearly seen the fragments of the blood god's Yin god merge into the purple-robed servant girl's body like dim light. This meant that the Yin god was hiding in An Ziqing's sea of consciousness. In such a situation, she couldn't estimate the depth of the Yin god. Just in case, she should take Old Master Yu away and let City Lord Yuan Lianyao and Li Feng, who cultivated the Frost Thunder art, deal with it. Yu Yuan. Many people's gazes followed Yu Yuan, who was running at full speed. After shouting, "Stop!" he immediately rushed towards An Ziqing. Yuan Lianyao was slightly surprised and said softly, "She's just a servant girl. Why are you so serious?" As the head of the Yuan family and the city lord of Dark Moon City, her hands were indeed stained with blood. Many of the blood belonged to her clansmen, comrades who had traveled in secret realms with her in the early years, and even many pursuers who admired her beauty. For the sake of her own cultivation and the benefit of her family, she had always been ruthless. Based on her understanding of Yu Yuan, she felt that Yu Yuan and she were actually the same kind. They both treated human lives like grass. She was just a servant girl, compared to the blood god's Yin god. Who was more important and who was more important? On the way, Yu Yuan shouted, "You family clansmen, stay away from An Ziqing. Get out of the way." Old Master Yukan in the wheelchair cooperated and gave the order. Yu Lian and a few other elders that Yu Yuan was familiar with immediately moved away from them. They were well aware that there would surely be a great upheaval surrounding An Ziqing. Many Yu clan members looked at the purple-robed servant girl with pity in their eyes. They all felt that this girl was going to be sacrificed and killed by Yuan Lianyao and Li Feng. Yu Yuan? By the time he ran all the way to her side, Yuan Lianyao, who had stopped for a while, suddenly said in a soft voice, "The bigger picture is more important. That little girl is only a mortal, and not even a member of your Yu clan. Don't let the blood god escape because of her. Otherwise, the entire Dark Moon City will fall into trouble again." Li Feng, who was one step ahead of Enziching, was ready to attack. Streaks of silver lightning shot out from the tip of the short spear. "Let me take a look at the situation first." After saying this, Yu Yuan walked past Yuan Lianyao with a deep frown. He slowed down and began to approach Enziching bit by bit. No one knew if the Yin spirit hidden in Enziching's body would suddenly attack. Knowing that his cultivation was too low, Yu Yuan didn't dare to act rashly. He was afraid that his 3 souls would be wiped out by the blood god in an instant. He would die before he even got close. Suddenly, the purple-robed servant girl Enziching became the focus of everyone. She was petite and wore a purple dress. Her head was lowered as if she was dozing off. But everyone felt that it must be the Yin god that was quietly invading her soul sea and taking over her body. Ziching. Finally, Yu Yuan stopped 7 or 8 meters in front of her and called out softly. Under Yuan Lianyao's signal, Li Feng stood on the left side of Yu Yuan, secretly guarding against the Yin god that had taken over Enziching's body. Yuan Lianyao, Zhao Dongxing, Zhao Jinghao, and the other experts of Dark Moon City spread out tacitly. They spread out around Enziching and surrounded her. "Young master," the purple-robed servant girl lowered her head, her shoulders trembling as if she was afraid or in pain. She finally raised her head, her eyes filled with tears and her face pale. She seemed to have a premonition that she was going to die. She looked at Yu Yuan pitifully. "Young master, am I going to die?" As she spoke, a blood light suddenly swelled between her brows. The blood light was like her third eye. When the blood light swelled, she trembled even more and the painful expression on her face was even more heartbreaking. "It hurts, young master, it really hurts. Senior of the blood god, can I negotiate with you?" Yu Yuan pondered for a moment and suddenly said, "I promise to let you leave alive. But please don't crush my servant girl's 3 souls before you leave her body." The purple-robed servant girl's teary eyes shone with a faint light of hope. Young master," she sobbed softly. "Yu Yuan, this isn't a good idea, is it?" Zhao Dongxing was the first to speak. His chubby face was scrunched up so hard that his eyes could barely be seen. "Let him leave and condense his nether soul with the help of the blood sacrifice spell formation. Once his nether soul returns to his fleshly body, who will be able to stop him?" The charming smile at the corner of Yuan Lianyao's mouth gradually faded. Instead, it was replaced by a kind of indifference to life. She looked calmly at Yu Yuan and said softly, "She's just a servant girl. Yu Yuan, in my heart, we're the same kind of people. Don't make me look down on you." "Old master?" Yu Hu asked in a low voice. From the looks of it, they were about to shed all pretense of cordiality at the slightest disagreement. For Enziching's sake, it was very likely that Yu Yuan would destroy the good situation with his own hands. Both the Yuan clan and the Zhao clan might bear grudges against each other because of this. She turned to Yu Kan for an answer. Yu Kan suddenly sat up straight in his wheelchair and said, "Why would the city lord and Zhao Dongxing care about Yu Yuan's attitude? They could have ignored Yu Yuan, or even our clan, and killed Enziching directly." With these words, the old man smiled bitterly and said, "It's always been like this, isn't it? Before Yu Yuan, did the Yuan clan and the Zhao clan ever ask for our permission before they decided to do anything?" Yu Hu was still confused. "Are you saying—" "There must be a reason why they respect little Yuan," Yu Kan said. "How many years has it been? Since when did our clan earn the respect of the Yuan clan and the Zhao clan? Since it's little Yuaner who has earned their respect, then let him be. We shouldn't hold him back and interfere with him as his seniors. Yu Hu pondered briefly before saying, "All right. I don't care whether you respect me or not, my lord." Yu Yuan looked straight into Yuan Lianyao's eyes as his face grew darker and darker. "You should be in charge of the formation hubs outside the city. If everything was done properly, the blood sacrifice formation wouldn't have worked at all. His own soul wouldn't even have dared to leave the cave. You're the one who made a mistake." Yu Yuan snorted coldly. "Maybe," Yuan Lianyao said, sounding uncertain. She had left the formation hubs outside the city to her father, Yuan Qiufang, and a few other elders of the Yuan clan. She hadn't received any news from them yet. "You're the one who made a mistake." Yu Yuan came to a conclusion first, then looked at Zhao Dongxing and said, "Uncle Zhao, I'll deal with what I promised you afterwards. However, if the Zhao clan tries to stop me, then the agreement between you and me will be null and void. As for the Black Dragon scissors, I'll return them to you afterwards." Upon hearing these words, Zhao Jinghao and Zhao Dongxing's expressions flickered. The Zhao clan's plan to devour the dragon was full of troubles. They had finally seen hope because of him. How could they just give up like this? Heartless bastard! I thought so highly of him. Zhao Yafu stomped her foot in anger. He's just a servant girl, and he's going to abandon me. Bastard! What are you talking about? Zhao Shi was confused. Fine, fine. After Zhao Yafu finished her angry words, she suddenly thought of something and yelled, "Big brother Yu, I support you." Yu Yuan looked back at her in astonishment. "I support you." Zhao Yafu waved her hand vigorously to attract his attention. She thought to herself, "Doesn't his heartlessness towards me prove that he has feelings for that little girl? Young master, why are you willing to treat me like this?" And Ziqing stared blankly at Yu Yuan. "I'm a lowly servant. You don't have to offend so many people because of me, do you?" The pain in her body and mind seemed to lessen a lot at this moment. Yu Yuan looked at her and said softly, "You were the first person I saw after I woke up. You were the one who took good care of me. No matter who you are, no matter what you want to do, I hope." He didn't finish his sentence. As a person who had lived 2 lives, he only had a good impression of a few people from the Yu clan. Yu Kan was one of them, and Ziqing was another. Only Yu Wei, Yu Hu, and the others came after them. In his previous life, when he was at the peak of his cultivation as a medicine refiner, he treated people like Yuan Lianyao and Zhao Dongxing the same way he treated Ziqing. All he cared about was how others treated him. And Ziqing's expression suddenly became incomparably strange. "Young master." She softly called out again and lowered her head again. Shoo! That blood-colored ribbon suddenly turned into a rainbow and shot towards him. Like a belt, it wrapped around her slim waist. Streaks of blood-colored light that could be seen with the naked eye flew out of the blood-colored ribbon, merged into her waist, and disappeared into her body. The blood-colored blood sacrifice spell formation that enveloped the heavens started to surge violently. It was as if the blood sacrifice spell formation had only been activated at this moment. "Get the hell out of here!" And Ziqing, who still had her head bowed, shouted in an unquestionable tone. "Okay." The messenger of the blood god that had been hiding in her body answered uneasily, and then flew out obediently. The god manifesting dust floating over Ziqing's head once again revealed the severely injured nether deity. The nether deity, who seemed to be wearing a gray robe, floated over Ziqing's head like a punching bag, bashful and fearful. Chapter 32. The Yin spirit had left the body. Under Ziqing's scolding, the blood god's Yin spirit actually obediently flew out of her body. What was going on? Li Feng, who had been accumulating power for a long time, was waiting for this moment. Without thinking, he released the frost thunder technique with all his might. Chi La. Streaks of dazzling silver lightning mixed with ice crystals and lightning bolts shot towards the nether deity like silver slithering snakes. Lightning was the nemesis of all illusory spirits. Not long ago, the Een spirit that had been locked onto by the manifestation god Dust was severely injured by Li Feng. Li Feng also firmly believed that if the Een spirit was attacked again, its soul would definitely be destroyed. However, the cowering nether deity floating over Enziching's head didn't move away. He was fearless. Li Feng, be careful. Oh no. Yuan Lianyao and Zhao Dongxing, who could tell that something was wrong, changed their expressions. At this moment, Enziching glanced at Li Feng from afar. Just a glance. The depths of Li Feng's mind felt as if it had been cut by thousands of sharp blades. In an instant, blood flowed from his 7 orifices. A hint of red flashed in the depths of Enziching's eyes. All of a sudden, she pulled out the blood-colored ribbon that was coiled around her waist. It was like a scarlet saber. With a slash, a terrifying blood light shone out. Enziching waved her saber and slashed forward from afar. The streaks of silver lightning released by Li Feng exploded on the way and turned into ice shards and smoke. Whoosh! Whoosh whoosh! Under Yuan Lianyao's control, the lotus flowers shot towards Enziching like burning fireballs. The petals of the bright red lotus flower suddenly turned into sharp daggers. Petals filled the sky and shot at Enziching. Every petal was engraved with mysterious runes, revealing the mysterious power of sealing, confinement, binding, and other mysterious abilities. When the petals fell, Yu Yuan, Zhao Jinghao, and Zhao Dongxing, who were not the target, felt that they were heavily restricted. It was as if they were deep in a swamp. Even raising their arms and moving their ankles was extremely difficult. The blazing blood lotus can actually be used to set up a formation, and it has such a miraculous use. At this moment, even the big fatty from the Zhao family was shocked. This woman, I still underestimated her. City Lord, is it? And Ziching let out a soft laugh. Her eyes curved into crescents, making her look completely harmless. She waved the ribbon like a blood-red long knife. It seemed to be as hard as steel, but it could also be as soft as cotton. Go! The blood-colored ribbon moved with the sound, as if it had its own consciousness. Like a blood python, it swallowed the petals one by one. The petals that filled the sky disappeared completely in just a few seconds. A wisp of blood appeared in the depths of Enziching's eyes, which were as red as the sky. Hiss! Several dozen crimson rays of light that only the subtle realm Yuan Lianyao could sense shot out of Enziching's eyes. Ignoring space and distance, it instantly reached Yuan Lianyao's mind. The crimson rays of light changed constantly in Yuan Lianyao's mind. They turned into ferocious pythons, crimson lightning, terrifying demons, and blood swords that could cut the heavens and earth. Blood suddenly flowed out of the ears of the city lord, who had the highest cultivation in Anua City. Her enchanting eyes quietly dimmed, without a trace of luster. Clang! The lotuses that had lost their petals fell to the ground with a shocking momentum. The lotuses were actually artifacts made of gold, iron, and jade. They weren't made of weak spiritual energy and qi. Such artifacts were naturally of a high level, but when they fell to the ground, they gradually lost their luster, just like Yuan Lianyao's eyes. Who can block an attack that targets the 3 souls of heaven, earth, and man? As the head of the Zhao family, Zhao Jinghao sighed bitterly and signaled his fat son to stop wasting his time. I'm Zhao Jinghao of the Zhao family. My Zhao family secretly serves the hidden dragon lake. I hope that the seniors of the blood god will give face to the hidden dragon lake and give the Zhao family a way out. Seeing that the situation wasn't good, Zhao Jinghao's ambitious and ruthless nature was immediately revealed. He was indeed flexible. Zhao Dongxing's head drooped in frustration. At the entrance of the Golden Silk Mountain, Huang Fan, Huang Tianyi, and the other members of the Huang family quietly appeared. As the head of the Huang family, Huang Fan looked confused at first, but then his spirits were lifted. Seniors of the Blood God sect, please uphold justice for my Huang family. My grandson and son were both killed by that vicious woman, Yuan Lianyao. He also blamed Huang Bin's death on Yuan Lianyao. Sister Yuan. And Ziqing pursed her lips and smiled. Do you know why the blood sacrifice spell formation is still working? Blood kept flowing out of Yuan Lianyao's ears, and the light in her beautiful eyes dimmed. She didn't know how to answer. The members of the Zhao family and the Yu family scattered in the valley all looked at Ziqing with unfamiliar eyes, as if they were meeting her for the first time. Who was she? A few more gazes landed on Yu Yuan, full of questions. Big brother Yu? Zhao Yafu muttered timidly. So your maid is from the blood god. You didn't know either, right? Judging from the Yin god's fearful attitude toward Ziqing, it was clear that Ziqing's status in the blood god was even higher. Being able to severely injure Yuan Lianyao, who was at the subtle realm, showed a lot of things. It seems that he didn't enter Ziqing's body to possess her, Zhao Shi said. Zhao Shi finally understood. He was just using Ziqing to avoid the disaster, and with Ziqing's help, he was able to reassemble the broken Yin spirit. That's what I was wondering. How could the phantoms gather around her so quickly? At this point, many people had seen through the situation. The new Yin god of the sect of the blood god knew Ziqing's identity. When he was seriously injured, he hid a strand of his soul in her body. With her help, he was able to gather again. As if to prove everyone's judgment, the Yin god spoke. Junior sister, do you still want to play? Shut up. Ziqing harumphed and said, quickly merge into the blood sacrifice array and use the array's power to refine your soul and reform your Yin god. I've wasted a lot of time on trash like you. If your Yin god fails to reform, I'll be embarrassed to death on this trip back to the sect. Got it. The Yin spirit, whose traces had been revealed by the spirit-revealing dust, agreed and flew into the crimson sky. It was like a river flowing into a crimson sea. The god-revealing dust finally lost its effect. When everyone looked up, they couldn't see the Yin god anymore. They only knew that he had merged into the blood sacrifice array. Those with high cultivation levels also felt an even heavier pressure in an instant. The blood sacrifice array seemed to have been given a soul, gaining consciousness and intelligence. In the sky, the crimson curtain of the sky surged violently. Hey! Red Devil School! A smug and loud voice came from the crimson sky. It was the messenger of the blood god. The clouds that were as thick as crimson blood surged and condensed into an enormous bloody arm that could crush mountains and rivers. This arm was as wide as a flowing river of blood and gave off a terrifying light. The crimson arm was like an ancient god from beyond the 9 heavens. It bent down and grabbed at someone through the thick sky. A terrifying amount of blood energy was released from the crimson sky created by the blood sacrifice array. The giant crimson arm seemed to split open the sky and landed on a small mountain outside the city. That small mountain was where Yuan Qiufang had listened to Yu Yuan and killed Lu Mang. At this moment, Yuan Qiufang, who was covered in blood, was at the peak of the small mountain. He raised his head and saw a giant crimson arm that covered the sky coming at him. Beams of crimson light shot out from the arm like crimson lightning. Pa pa pa! The splashing blood caused the craggy boulders on the short mountain he was on to explode, causing the entire mountain to shake and sway. Blood god! Yuan Qiufang roared as a pillar of fire shot out from his head like a waterfall. He looked like he was about to go crazy. However, at this moment, there was still a trace of hesitation in his eyes. That pill. Just as the crimson arm was about to press down on him, he gritted his teeth and swallowed the crimson pill in a flash. Yu Yuan's words sounded in his mind. Do not use this pill unless you are in a situation of certain death. Young master. On the other side, the purple-clothed maid, Unziching, swayed her hips as she walked toward Yu Yuan. It was as if she had sat in a copper basin every morning to serve Yu Yuan. In Onua City, the clansmen of the 4 families who were still conscious felt their scalps go numb. Chapter 33. The sky turned crimson, and Ziching's entire body glowed with a brilliant light that no one dared to look at for too long. That kind of light was like a blood-colored jade, naturally dazzling. At this moment, she, who was originally just a pretty girl, seemed to be enveloped in a different kind of spirit. Everyone in the valley was looking at her with heavy hearts. Everyone was looking at her. So that scene that morning wasn't my imagination. Yu Yuan felt bitter in his heart as he recalled the scene he had seen when Yuan Lianyao came that morning. Yuan Lianyao, who had fallen to the ground with serious injuries, also recalled the unusual flesh aura she had sensed that day before she left. At that time, she had even exclaimed softly. However, even she hadn't expected that the unusual flesh aura had actually come from a little servant girl by Yu Yuan's side. She had only thought that someone else in the Yu clan had secretly practiced some evil secret art. After a few seconds of silence, Yu Yuan said, "When Inju sneaked in late at night and sealed you with his frost power and turned you into an ice sculpture, I thought you didn't feel anything at that time. Did you see everything at that time?" And Ziching chuckled as she walked. "I saw how mighty you were at that time, young master. I watched you make Inju suffer unbearable pain with those poisonous pills. I also watched you and covered his mouth, afraid that he would scream. At that moment, young master really made this servant admire you. I'm very curious. With your cultivation base and cultivation base, why are you in the Yu clan?" Yu Yuan asked. "I'm sorry, I can't answer that question." And Ziching looked embarrassed. "However, I'm more curious about you, young master. I don't care how many people die in Dark Moon City, as long as my senior martial brother can successfully condense his Yin spirit. As for you, young master, I hope that I can continue to accompany you." "Continue to accompany you?" The corner of Yu Yuan's mouth twitched as he put on a fake smile and said, "You might as well say that you kidnapped me and kept me by your side. Young master, this servant truly feels that it is my honor to be able to serve by your side." And Ziching had a very sincere expression on her face. "After you wake up, you have a bright future ahead of you. A mere Dark Moon City and a mere Yu clan will only restrict you. Our blood god is a better choice for you, young master." At this point, Ziching suddenly stopped. Her eyebrows suddenly twitched, as if she had sensed something. A crimson ball of light suddenly appeared in her palm. Then, another drop of blood flew out of her palm, which was holding the crimson ball of light, and miraculously merged with it. "Tears of the blood god! Open your heaven's eye!" Following her soft cry, the drop of blood that originated from her suddenly exploded with brilliant divine light within the crimson ball. It was as if the crimson ball of light had turned into a transparent mirror in an instant. 3 people were clearly reflected in the light ball. Lin Hanyu and Lin Zhuyun were accompanying a middle-aged man in white with an extraordinary temperament. The 3 of them raised their heads to look at the sky, and their expressions changed dramatically. Dozens of kilometers away, on a green mountain peak far away from Dark Moon City, Lin Hanyu, his daughter, and an elder of the frigid Yin sect all looked up into the sky. The clear sky was suddenly dyed red by the color of blood. Then, they saw Ziching's pretty face appear in the blood-colored sky. Ziching's pretty face was hanging in the blood-colored sky. Her head was lowered, and she was looking at them with an unfathomable expression, like a god overlooking the mortal world. "The blood god is casting spells in Dark Moon City. Fellow Taoists of the frigid Yin sect, please leave as soon as possible." And Ziching's voice rang out from the blood-colored sky. "Also, the young master of the Yu clan has been chosen by the blood god. Please, the Lin clan and the Frigidine sect, don't play any more low-level trick. By the time she finished speaking, the blood-colored sky gradually faded away. Lin Hanyu and Lin Zhuyun looked at each other in dismay. Her name is Ziqing. After I went to the Yu clan, I found that she was the one taking care of Yuan. Lin Zhuyun seemed to be in a trance, as if she couldn't believe what had just happened. I can't believe she was able to cast spells and make her face appear in the sky from dozens of kilometers away. I always thought she was just an ordinary girl. She suddenly remembered how Ju had suddenly broken into Ningji's soul-summoning spell formation in the Yu clan's town. At that time, Ju had even tried to kill Ziqing in a fit of rage. She felt a bitter taste in her mouth. She's at least at the spirit stage. Lu Wei, the elder of the Frigidine sect, who had rushed here to investigate the cause of Lu Mang's death and deal with the dispute between the Lin clan and the Yu clan, frowned and said, "She's at the spirit stage, but she's actually hiding in the Yu clan and serving that Yuan?" Lin Zhuyun sighed softly and said with her head bowed, "I don't know the details either. It seems that Lu Mang has no choice but to die in vain." Lu Wei shrugged, as if he was certain that his mission was over. Lu Mang ordered Ju to attack that young master of the Yu clan twice. Since that young master has a spirit of the blood god behind him, Lu Mang can only count himself unlucky. Lin Hanyu looked at him anxiously and asked, "Elder Lu, what about the humiliation we suffered in the Yu clan? You're confused by anger, aren't you?" Lu Wei frowned. "With your intelligence, you should know that you shouldn't say such things after you calm down and think about it." Lin Hanyu immediately shut his mouth. The blood god of the northern part of the tranquil continent is no weaker than our frigid sect, Lu Wei said faintly. A spirit of the blood god served that young master of the Yu clan as a servant girl. Isn't this enough to explain the problem? That young master was able to come back to life after 17 years in the chaos. I'm afraid it was all arranged by the blood god. Such a person, Lu Wei paused for a second and looked at Lin Zhuyun, saying, such a person's cultivation talent and future achievements have long surpassed the scope of ordinary people. He actually wanted to say that since the blood god attached so much importance to him, it meant that Yuan was much more important to the blood god than Lin Zhuyun was to the frigid sect. If Lin Zhuyun was to be nurtured as a future pillar of the frigid sect, then Yuan would be regarded as a treasure by the blood god. He might even be regarded as a candidate for the future sect master. If the frigid sect dared to act recklessly again, it would set off a bloody war between the two sections. Who knew how many people would die before it would end? I see. Lin Zhuyun lowered her head, her jade-like hands grabbing the corner of her clothes. She slowly tightened her grip. Whoosh! Almost at the same time, in another part of Dark Moon City, a blazing pillar of light shot up into the sky like a waterfall of flames. It crashed heavily into an arm that was as red as blood. That part of the sky suddenly burst with dazzling light of spiritual power, as if heaven and earth were collapsing. It was so dazzling that it hurt people's eyes. In the depths of the waterfall of flames, talismans that looked like flame fairies constantly changed and arranged themselves, forming many strange formations that resisted the crimson arm. The Red Devil School. Lu Wei's eyes were filled with surprise. I can't believe this small Dark Moon City is actually filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. The blood god secretly set up formations to wash this city with blood, and some fellow Taoists from the Red Devil School are interfering. In the northern part of the tranquil continent, the blood god and the Red Devil School don't get along. Could it be that they see Dark Moon City as a battlefield? With this thought, Lu Wei couldn't stay any longer. You and your father shouldn't stay in Dark Moon City any longer. Lin Zhuyun, you'd better go into secluded cultivation as soon as you return to the Lin clan, and use the pills I brought you to break through to the profound breaking stage. Once you do, the sect will take you away to the Tianyuan continent to cultivate. Lin Zhuyun obeyed. Got it. Let's go. In the valley of Golden Silk Mountain. I've sent the father and daughter of the Lin clan and an elder of the frigid Een sect away. And Zicheng put the crimson ball of light in her hand into her sleeve, and said to Yu Yuan with a sweet smile, I've made it clear that our young master is the one chosen by the blood god. As long as the frigid Een sect isn't stupid, they'll restrain themselves and won't dare to offend our young master again. As for our young master's fiancée, Zicheng shook her head and said regretfully, since she's blind, there's no need to pay her any mind. Once young master enters our divine sect and starts cultivating our divine sect's secret arts, Lin Zhuyun will no longer be worthy of young master. At that time, she'll be the one who's trying to marry you. All of the surviving members of the 4 great clans in Dark Moon City looked at the two of them with strange gazes. They stared at the master and servant pair in name only. Huang Fan, Huang Tianyi, and the other members of the Huang clan were the most confused. Why did Zicheng, who had been hiding in the Yu clan, still attach so much importance to Yu Yuan after revealing her true identity? Why did she insist on taking Yu Yuan back to the blood god? Why did she continue to serve him as a servant girl? What did Yu Yuan do to deserve this? Forget it. The blood god's reputation is too bad, and I don't like the incantations they practice. Yu Yuan shook his head, as if he didn't know that the Zicheng in front of him was no longer his servant girl. Also, that senior martial brother of yours isn't a sure winner. Your plans and arrangements might not be as stable as you think. And Zicheng smiled sweetly. What other surprises do you have? Pung. In the distant crimson sky, an enormous blood shadow condensed from blood-colored clouds suddenly exploded. A heaven-defying waterfall of flames burst open a huge hole in the crimson sky. The hole was burning violently. Numerous fiery talismans that looked like tiny red crystals were flashing and destroying the so-called blood sacrifice spell formation of the blood god. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.